What's going on, everyone? Hi, JR.
How we doing? How we doing?
We are doing the Nomad Boulevard community is kind of right at the very beginning of phase two. So, instead of the end of phase one, which was just all hands on deck 24/7, now we're all hands on deck 24/7. You know what I mean? So just it's a whole new reality for us. I remember in a room, JR, you said, for those of you who are thinking about, starting an NFT project, don't. And I'm happy to say I know exactly what you mean, but but I say do. I say do.
I love it. I respect that, and it's a lot of work. That's all. But your community is absolutely amazing. So when the community is behind you, it's a lot easier. So a lot of respect to you, the team, and your entire Nomad community for sure.
Appreciate it. Last night we weren't supposed to have a Twitter Spaces, but we had to just do an ad hoc one because there was this like 3 day long trade going on. So two people were just going, a guy from Toronto and a guy from Singapore were just going back and forth. The guy from Toronto really wanted the paper bag Nomad, and was offering everything like a Wes Henry piece, a Yuko piece, 5 different Nomads, a couple of rare ones just for one paper bag Nomad, and the guy was just not having it. And this battle was going on for so long that we took it to Spaces. It ended up there was like a 3-way bidding war, and eventually a 3-way trade happened. So it's alive. We are alive. This group.
That's insane. So was everyone happy at the very end of it, or people like upset with the trade they got, or was everyone kind of
No, so
pretty happy?
everyone was really happy. I mean, they included me in the private Twitter conversation. So, like, it's, 10 pages long. I went through the whole thing, and we're just crying laughing yesterday. It was so funny. But one guy ended up with the one he wanted, another one ended up with the Wes and the Yuko, and another one ended up with all the other ones. It was amazing how it all worked out.
Yeah,
Um,
sounds beautiful.
yeah, it was great. So look, I think we should give the world a few more minutes to join us before we kind of get into this. How JR, how's everything going? Like aside from everything that you're working on, how's everything going in LA? How's everything in your world?
Yeah, everything's good. I'm actually supposed to be right now in the desert, and I boarded an Airbnb and everything, and then my basically my check engine light for my Lamborghini came on, and for those who don't know, I just renting, nothing crazy, and jokes, but my check engine light came on for my car, and I took it into the shop, and it's gonna be about a day and a half until it's all done. So my adventure into the wilderness had to be put off a day. But I like to think everything happens for a reason. I could have been uh, bitten by a rattlesnake, or uh, anything crazy could have happened. And so again, I think everything happens for a reason. So I end up not going out to the desert, and I'm going out tomorrow though. So if anyone wants to meet me in right near Joshua Tree, if anyone is listening and you want to head out and grab some food, I'm actually this may actually happen. If anyone knows Taylor WTF, um, he said he might make an appearance. And me personally, I'm a huge fan of Taylor. I absolutely love the man. And so if I can convince him to show his true self, because I don't know if anyone even knows what he looks like, it would be really awesome to see him. But how's everything in your world besides Nomad? I know it might not seem there's a world outside of Nomad right now, but um, what's going on in your life?
So I have an almost 6 year old and a 4 year old. So I don't know if you know that about me, but
I
that
didn't.
is
Holy crap!
yeah, so, imagine that. And I'm still 95% of the time still hanging out with them in the morning, still putting them to bed. I'm just prioritizing and squeezing everything in. Um, I wake up in the morning though, and my wife's like, "Are you good?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." she's like, no, seriously, like, do you need some time? No, no, I'm fine. And I can't even talk. But look, I'm like you, man. I'm blessed. I'm feeling really, really happy and excited about this year. We had some calls this week with some of the bigger talent agencies. So both getting some information about what's going on behind the scenes and looking into whether or not it makes sense for Nomad to get some representation to help us out. We are starting to hear from a lot of people in the Nomad community who want to kind of raise their hand and lean in and add value where they have expertise or in ways that energizes them. And had a couple of conversations today with a couple of people from the community that are going to lean in and help us. So we've got someone that's going to help out with some brand partnerships that are kind of LA focused and LA based. Someone else that's going to help out with some events. So I think that's really cool. Wasn't expecting that so soon after the reveal, but excited.
Well, again, congratulations on the two kids. That's incredible. That's I don't know how anyone how I'll be honest, I don't know how any parents do it, and also end up doing NFTs full time as well, because I can barely remind myself to eat food. Never mind take care of two others. So huge shout out to any parents in the audience as well, and congratulations.
Thanks, man. Yeah. So let me ask you about Twitter DMs and text messages and emails and Slacks and Discord DMs and all of that. So like, I know you don't get everything, and I know because that would be impossible. And so let's say that you go to sleep and you wake up and you pick up your phone and you go to Twitter and you go to messages and you see 32 messages. What do you do? Like what do you even do there?
So I'm looking at this stage right now, and just about everyone on there has been a victim of a unanswered DM, texts, every kind of message you could think of. So once more, huge apology. This is like my yeah, it's a lot. It's extremely overwhelming. So if you think about when you have so much you have to do, like there's so much to do, and then you're just paralyzed and you end up not doing anything at all. That's literally what happens with me with my DMs. Like I just posted uh, a screenshot from like I think it was like 3 days ago, 2 3 days ago, and in a span of 24 hours, it's like I had like 72 unread DMs on just Instagram, and I don't get blown up that much on Instagram. And Twitter is where it's like it's just it's a lot. But I if if I answer your text, just know I love you. I never ever answer the phone. I hate the phone. So if I answer your phone call, it means that I'm in a great man. I must be having a great day. But with I'm sure your project gets a ton as well. But like um, with DMs, I do my best to answer at least like two or three in the mornings, and then at night I try to like again I try to answer three, four, or five, because what I've realized the most important thing in this space is your time and your mental health. So I'm huge on like if if it takes a day to get back to someone, I'm sure, and this goes for anyone. I'm sure they'll completely be okay with you saying, "Hey, listen, I'm sorry, I've been busy for a day or two." So I definitely do my best to get back to everyone at least in a day or two. And if it takes a little longer, I just want to want to apologize to anyone in the audience if that may have been you. So it's a lot, but I know some people uh, they have their at least me personally, like I used to literally answer every single DM, and that was what I pride myself on. Like when I first like really got started in the space, was like I was answering 20 to 30 to 40 messages a day, and I was like, this is phenomenal. But then it just became you hit a point where it's like, all right, this is too much, and you're spending 2 hours every morning and 2 3 hours every night before bed answering DMs, and it's like it's just not healthy. So uh, I try to get to about 5 to 10 messages a day, and I'm happy with myself if I do that. So again, apologies if I don't get back to you, and if I give you my phone number, then I'll always get back. It just might take a little bit longer. So that's a good question. That's it's it's I definitely feel bad a lot, but it's yeah,
So
I do my best.
something that I do to kind of cope with a bunch of DMs is I just say like, well, at least I'm not JR, and then I just I just answer everyone in there the best I can as quickly as I can. I'm like, at least I'm me and not JR. NFT Cheers, what's up?
Hey guys, how are you?
We're doing really well. How are you?
Good, thank you. Talking about DMs, so you know, me and my company manage around 30 accounts, Twitter and Instagram, and DMs when you have big accounts like GR, on Twitter, or Sabet or Gebwes, it's beyond overwhelming when it's every day, and on top of that, you get spams, right? I think this is the death of me. Instagram, I think it's honestly the worst, and I don't know how many messages I sent to Mosseri, who is the CEO of Instagram. I'm like, dude, when are you going to fix all this shit? Sorry, excuse my French, but I'm French, so I guess I get a pass. Um, with those, the spam DMs. But going back to what Jar was saying, I think it's about priority here. Like you said, now you do like around five, per day, which is good, because when we talk about mental health and it's starting draining to you, uh, that's when you have to kind of slow down. So I don't think it's being rude to people. It's just you're also protecting your own mental health, and eventually you're gonna when you have a moment you will respond to those DMs. But yeah, it's not easy to manage that. I totally relate there.
Yeah, how do you manage? Because I know you manage a bunch of accounts. So, what is your? I guess what would be your piece of advice for me or anyone else on how to approach all those DMs?
Well, I think you're already doing it. You have learned yourself on how to not force yourself, right? Like you said before, I think you were saying you were responding every day to all the DMs, but then you got mentally tired. And I think that's what I was saying is good that now you don't do that. You still respond to some of them, and eventually you're gonna get to all of them. But what I mean is you don't feel forced every single day within 24 hours that you must respond to all of them. I think the issue that is happening in this industry, social media and NFTs industry, is very fast paced, right? Everything is almost a rush. You want to respond to everybody. You have calls and you have drops, and everything is quick, quick, quick. But um, then you kind of forget about yourself and your mental health and your body here. So yeah, it's just knowing yourself and yeah, controlling that like you're doing. So I think you're already doing it, which is great. I'm happy for you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It sounds good to know because again, I know you're supporting again like the likes of Wes, Gabe, Henry, Sabet, and those are again some of the most massive names, and
Yeah.
it's good to hear that. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Well, I'll take this beat to just welcome everyone into the room tonight. We have our special guest, JR, up on stage with us, who is one of the co founders of OniForce, but really started out and continues to be an artist, first and foremost. And not just an artist creating his own artwork, but also supporting other artists in their pursuit of either becoming full time artists or connecting, networking, and that's what he's all about. He started something called WAGMI Art Res. I don't want to speak about it. I want him to speak about it. And JR, I know you've told this story before. I'm not gonna, ask you to tell a specific rendition. The only thing I want to know is, just from the very beginning, how it started, how you came up with the idea. If you could just kind of tell the room everything from its origin, then we can talk a little bit more about it. I think it's a really, really good timing that you're extending this one day because I know a lot of the people in the Nomad community are artists. Many are emerging, would love to have an opportunity to break in with your support and the people in your network. So let's start from the beginning. Let's tell the room the story, and then I know people will want to come up and ask some questions.
Yeah, of course. And once more, I just want to say thank you to you and the whole Nomad community for just chiming in, and uh, it's a beautiful thing. And yeah, so I guess just to quickly touch, for those who don't know, I used to be a middle school art teacher, and for like the last 2 3 years, I was teaching middle school art, and I've always been just in the light. I love supporting others. I love taking others to the top, and I really did believe, and still do believe in the meaning of WAGME. For those who don't know, we are going to make it. And I was actually the idea came about in Art Basel Miami, and I actually, it's funny enough, it's her birthday today. I was at getting dinner and drinks with Michaela, who is a an educator in this space as well, and she's like, what would be amazing? She's like, all I would need was just like 1 month, 2 months, not having to worry about any finances at all, and just completely focus on NFTs and just focus on my artwork. And she's like, just let me like pick your brain like every few days to see if I'm going in the right direction. And I really know I can make it. I'm like, well, like what can I do to help? Like let's make this happen. And she's like, no, no, no. She's like, I know they're like, she's like, I have a huge support system already. I have like those who I can call upon. She's like, it would be really cool to see something like this happen. And this is when she's like, I'm going to Dubai. I'm going to be spending time there. And I was like, you know what? This is a great idea. So that night, I went back to my hotel room after we all went out and had our fun. And I saw Logic was hosting a Twitter Spaces room. And for those who don't know, Logic is an absolute beast, and just like I seriously consider my brother. Like he's just a beautiful human inside and out. And um, he was hosting a room, and he's like, "Hey, what's up, JR?" And I went on stage, and uh, I was like, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, listen, I don't want to forget this idea. I just like was having drinks and food and was talking back and forth. So I'm like, I need you to remind me tomorrow. I'm like, I want to do an art residency where I support one artist and I take care of their funds and I really just do what I can to make sure they succeed. And then I wake up to a message from Logic, and he was like, "Hey man," he's like, you spoke it in my room. Now you got to do it." And I was like, "Oh shit." And so that was kind of like the quote unquote origin story of how all this began. And uh, it is like ridiculously evolved since the conception of the idea and of what I originally thought I wanted it to be like. And it is now grown from myself into about 15 to 20 different artists now supporting one human that's going to be selected. And so much more has gone onto this already. Like, I'll definitely get into more of that, but that is the origin story of it, which is pretty cool.
So real quick, if everyone can go to the bottom right-hand corner of your phone and click on that blue circle with the plus button and the plume or feather, click on it and just share this room. Maybe add a couple of people or, just send that out real quickly so we can get some more people in before we start talking about this program. Also, just want to welcome Wes Henry on stage. I'm also going to invite up Amanda. Amanda, no pressure, but if you want to come up and hang with us, we'd love to have you up here. JR, I don't know if you've met Amanda yet. Amanda Oleander. She, Nomad Boulevard was one of her kind of first forays into the NFT space, and I think she's very quickly going to start dominating in a matter of days. So we'll intro you to her in a sec. Wes, what's going on?
What up, Hero? What up, JR? What up, Nomad? What up, Yumi? What's up?
What up?
What up, Amanda?
Hello.
We got all kinds of people in the crowd. Hi, everybody.
Hi, JR. I came in right when you said, I could be mistaken, you brought up Logic.
Yeah, I love Logic.
Me too. He actually has one of my art pieces I sent him a while ago. We follow each other on social media. I saw him in concert, so I'm a big fan. So we have that in common.
Oh, different Logic. This is a Logic in the NFT space.
Oh.
But that's really cool. I'm sure that Logic is really badass too.
That Logic is pretty cool. I wonder if he's in the NFT space. Okay, never mind.
He is a little bit. He's also taking a look at Nomad as well. So we're gonna get him in this thing. But
Oh, cool.
like as big as Logic is in kind of like the music scene,
Mm-hmm.
In the much smaller OG NFT scene, Logic is kind of equally as prominent. But
I need to find out who that Logic is.
what's so funny in the clubhouse rooms last year, Amanda?
Mm-hmm.
every time I would like go through the hallway and see what rooms, and I would see Logic. I'm like, is it Logic? And then I go in, I'm like, okay, it's Logic, because I didn't know him yet. But so anyway, look, Amanda, something that I'm not sure if you're aware of. So JR has been in the space for a long time, an artist, art teacher, one of the co-founders of Oniforce, which is one of the biggest NFT projects in the history of time. And he's
Wow.
starting this new project called WagMe Art Res. And he kind of just gave the backstory on kind of how it started. And we're about to get into what it's all about. And great opportunity for some of the emerging artists in the Nomad community. So we're all here hanging out.
That is awesome. Okay, I'll have to listen to the recording of this so I can catch up, but excited to hear about the project.
So JR, back to you. Now that we kind of know how it all started, tell us a little bit more.
Yeah. So just to I guess dive right into it. Like I really wanted this selfishly. I wanted it to be just me going all out and doing everything I can for the selected artist who wins. And um, to go into what actually the artist the Wag Me Art Res is uh, I rented out a place in the heart of New York City, so downtown Manhattan, and for the entire month of April. February, March, April, the entire month of April, you'll have this place in downtown Manhattan, along with I'm going to be supplying a $2,000 stipend. There's also going to be, and this is where so just to make sure all bills are covered, because I think one of the biggest things or challenges, at least for me, like when trying to make the leap, is like I don't have enough money saved up. I don't have like just to have that weight off my back and shoulders is enough to really take a massive leap forward. And then I was like, I'll also be doing one-on-one coaching, like once a week, check in, say, hey, you should do this, you should do that. And I realized that not everyone's would relate to just my story or what happened, like everything that I've done. And I've had a lot of incredible feedback from the community saying, hey, you should get other artists involved in this as well to kind of coach them and give their backstory. So what started off as just me basically telling my story and saying, hey, this is how I think you should do it. Again, not one shoe fits all. Now we have over 15 of some of the most successful artists in the space who have donated at least 30 minutes to an hour of their time to coach this artist, and just spreading alpha and what has worked for them, what has not worked for them, and that includes the likes of, again, you see Wes Henry on this stage, Sketch Poetic, who is a phenomenal artist. There is a plethora of just like, again, I'm just blessed to know a lot of these individuals. And if you take a look at the pin tweet, like you'll see some more of them. And if you guys know like Smileverse right now, so Wahid, Sabet, Nyla, Sarah Script, David Bianchi, Gabe Weiss, Jimena, Taylor Warhortle, Akasha. Um, these are just a small few. And there's also like 4 or 5 more who have uh, dedicated time to talk to this artist. And so what started off as a just me coaching and supporting this one human has turned into the entire community rallying behind this artist. And what I want to do and what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically almost like host it as a like a Twitter Spaces in a way, and record these conversations. And that way at the end of it we could share these with the entire community, so it's not just this one person getting all the alpha. Like we obviously want everyone to succeed and everyone to do well. So I'm going to be recording these conversations, sharing them, but at least for these conversations, like it's going to be geared towards the specific artists themselves. So like, hey, let me maybe try this out moving forward, maybe do this, and maybe critique their work in particular. And not only on top of getting free housing, getting a $2,000 stipend, getting 15 of the some of the top artists in the entire space, coaching on that. But I also purchased, if you guys know in this space, who's again a huge advocate for mental health, who's been in this space for for as long as I can remember as well, is he goes by Living with Will. I purchased his first ever uh, episode of Living with Will. So what that means is that um, he has his own TV show, basically his NFT TV show, and the winner, whoever like wins the episode, gets to decide what the entire episode is about, and I'm basically the producer. So what I'm doing is I'm donating my one episode that I won, and which is the very first episode ever, to the winner of this residency. So Will is flying out to New York. He is interviewing them, asking them questions about what's going on. At the very end of it, he's going to interview them again and say, "Hey, what was your experience like?" And he's going to make an entire episode about this one artist as well. And to really put the cherry on top, which is just like setting up this human for success for literally a minimum like 4 or 5 months, is I've already had, and this happened in Nomad Boulevard rooms prior, at least two of these, but since then I've had so many more. Is I've had uh, altogether right now 3 individuals so far promised to donate at least one ETH in sales to the artist. So when they, at the very end, we're gonna have a show in the metaverse where everything that this artist has worked on, we're gonna put up for sale. We're gonna have like a basically metaverse party, art party that anyone can go to. We're gonna have our Twitter Spaces, um, and we're gonna put everything up for sale. And we've had 3 people already say, "Hey," like I had one. He goes by the NFT Millionaire, and he's like, "Hey man, I want to donate one ETH to you to help pay for bills." And I know it's starting to come a lot. I'm like, no, I'm like, don't pay me anything. I'm like, I want you to take that one ETH and donate it towards the artist that's gonna win and buy one of their pieces. And they're like, done. And then I had like I pinned it up top as well. Is again just how incredible this community is. So Burning Bush, Lee Bush, he's working on a project right now called The Need, and they're like, "Hey, as soon as we hit our goal of I forgot how many it was for the mint, he's like, we'll donate $1,000 to the winner and purchase one of their pieces as well." And I don't want to speak on behalf of Nomad Boulevard, but I know that I talked to you and your team as well, and I would love for you to speak on behalf of what you're willing to how you're willing to support us as well.
So first of all, I anything that we kind of offer, please know that you don't. I don't have to put like I'm not putting you on the spot to say yes. I will accept that either. You know what I mean? Something that was going through my mind while you were speaking was, I'm not sure if you're going to have a dedicated Discord for this project. Are you?
I haven't even thought of that. No.
Because personally, and I don't know how this is going to go in the future, but for me, being in 37 different Discord channels is like it's just not working for me. I am in Nomad, and maybe I check in with Gemma and NFP and you know Bank and just a couple of others, but it's too much. So to the extent that Nomad Boulevard can, provide like a private channel or, both a private and a regular channel, and we can kind of, create a space there, totally happy to do that. I think Taylor WTF and his room could also be a good option. So that's, just something, because I mean it's a lot of work managing that, and we're happy to do that. Nomad Boulevard is definitely going to be buying a piece of artwork from this artist that will go in the Nomad Boulevard vault. So that is 100% going to happen. And I think we just need to brainstorm. I think what you're doing is so on mission and on brand to Nomad Boulevard that it's just a matter of how much you want to collaborate with us.
That's again just a huge, and excuse my French, I'm not French, but a huge fucking thank you. um I it again, what started off as something I just wanted to do for me and selfishly has turned into the entire community supporting this project. And it's just like, this is again, this is the just the first residency. This is like me figuring out what's going to work, what's not going to work. And I am literally taking any and all advice that's given my way, and putting it towards this project, because again, obviously 10 heads are better than one. So if anyone listening in the audience has any ideas whatsoever, like I'd say about literally 50% of this project and the amazing ideas that have come of it have come from the audience and like those who the community. And it's like, hey, try doing this, maybe do this, maybe do that. I'm like, that's a fucking great idea. Wow, that's an incredible idea. Absolutely. So I'm learning, and I know there are going to be some small little things that I definitely could have done better. So if there's any way that you say, hey, maybe try doing this, like please, 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 like send me a DM. And uh, I just want to make sure that no matter what happens, that this one artist uh, truly sets themselves up for success. And um, I'm I'm gonna be real. So like when I was a full time artist twice before now, and the time before I became a full time NFT artist was I was in Philadelphia. I was at the time I was managing a restaurant, and I was just very unhappy with my life. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna put in my 2 weeks. I can't do this anymore. I'm gonna be an artist. I'm gonna do whatever the hell I need to do. And I had about 2 months rent saved up, and uh, I was an artist for 2 years after that. And I'll be honest, it was the most beautiful 2 years of my life. It was also the hardest 2 years of my life because uh, I was when you put your back up against the wall and you burn the boats and you take the island and you give yourself no plan B and you say this has to work, it will work, you make it work. And I was literally, and this is no exaggeration, I was drawing dog portraits. I was doing regular human portraits. I was going out doing photo shoots for restaurants, like just taking stuff. I was making uh, menu designs for Chinese restaurants in my area. I literally saw someone on a YouTube video say, try this out. And I was like doing menu design. I was literally doing anything and everything I could to survive. And you find a way. And what this is going to do though is again, it's looking like again I'm going to buy a piece as well, but it's looking like around 4 to 5 ETH is already being donated, which is now you're looking at like around $13,000 immediately after leaving this, and that doesn't include any other sales that might happen on the day one. That's just from people that are saying, hey, we're definitely going to buy a piece. That's not including the maybe the 100 other editions that might get released by this artist or following through after this. So I know whoever gets chosen, I'm going to take under my wing like a little brother or little sister, and say, hey, I'm going to make sure that from this moment on, like you succeed. And I want to do this over and over and over again, month after month after month. And what's what's beautiful too, and again, another thing someone mentioned in the audience is like, or in the community was like, hey, what about those who have a family and that they can't just randomly pick up their stuff and head to New York and or head to wherever the next one might be, like what can you do for them? And so what we're looking into now is having an entirely kind of like in the metaverse, quote unquote, kind of art residency as well, where like 1 month on is at a location, the next month is going to be at home, so you can like still work, and then again, I'll just provide housing for whatever your rent may be there. And um, it's just really really evolving into something beautiful, and I'm just super appreciative of the entire community right now.
So I know that we're going to have a bunch of questions. I have one to start out, and then if you want to ask a question to JR about this program, request to come up here and give us 5, 10, 15 minutes to go through some stuff, and we'll bring you up. Also, just want to let everyone know that we are going to be doing a giveaway. It's not going to be super shilly giveaway night. We're not going to like have you retweet and do a bunch of stuff, but we are going to be doing a giveaway tonight. We're going to be giving a Nomad Boulevard Mint Pass, a collector's pass. So that's burnable for a Nomad NFT. So that's happening. JR, I wanted to ask you, how many people have already applied? Have you been looking at the applications? How are you going to narrow it down? Is there going to be an interview process? Can you just tell us about the whole application process and kind of also what you're getting yourself involved in?
Absolutely. And before I do that too, I just want to give just a random side note shout out to if you scroll down, his name is the Cryptocurrency. And when I first got started in this space, him and James. He was one of the first humans who ever truly truly supported me in my work and my vision. And like we barely speak now. It's like it's just how life works. But he is just an incredible human, and he's got it looks uh like a bear with a mohawk as his PFP, but just a such a giving human, and I just want to just give you a quick shout out and just say thank you for everything you've done for me and everything else in the community. But as far as the application process, and that was another thing that came up from the community, was it's like, hey JR, how are you going to pick the winner and not seem like, let's say one of my friends applies and not seem biased at all. So what's over right now, like I think just over 100 people have applied to the, which is again I think a fairly small amount, which is great for me, to be honest, because it makes my job a lot easier. Um, but the application process is, I have not looked at, I think I've looked at 3 or 4 of them so far. I didn't want to cheat. I wanted to wait. I wanted to uh, kind of tackle them all together at once. But I'm going to overlook all of them myself first. And then I've been extremely blessed to have brung on I'm going to actually pin it up top too. Some incredible humans to help me actually choose the winner, because I don't think it's fair that I would be the only one that selects who the winner is. So it is myself. Um, Let me see if I can actually find the tweet that's gonna. Here we go. Pinning this up top. So it's myself, Cas Vegas, Perrin, Logic, and Food Mask U. So it is a completely just very wide, very diverse panel that are going to help me select who the winner is. And what's going to happen is we're going to narrow it down to the top 5 artists of all of those selected, or I guess like top 6 really, because I want us all to really strongly feel uh, passionate about 1 to 3 artists, and then we can see if any of those overlap. And then once we get down to the final 5, I want to hold like actual interviews, so like Zoom interviews, and because at the end of the day, yes, you could be the most incredible artist and have the most amazing talent, but it comes down to like, do you truly want this as like at your core? Like, are you a good person? Are you a good human? Do you deserve this? I don't know if anyone's ever seen the movie 7 Pounds with Will Smith. It, it's a lot deeper than this,
Yes.
but he basically goes through the selection process of like, hey, does this person truly deserve this opportunity? Because I really believe that like this like from the core of my like the pit of my stomach, I know this is going to change someone's life. This is going to put tens of thousands of dollars in someone's pocket. You're going to get advice from, again, the likes of like Wes Henry and those who have sketch poetic, who have truly crushed in this space, which is completely priceless. It's like that saying, like, teach someone how to fish instead of giving them a fish. Like, we're literally giving you fish while teaching you how to fish as well. And I want to make sure that this person uh just truly deserves it. And I'm gonna be honest, like, I am going to very much peruse their social media like it's a job interview, because this is, again, I'm giving up like full transparency. Like, even the place in New York City for a month, it was like $5,500, and that's not including the $2,000 stipend or anything else that I'm providing as well. Like, I'm overall, I'm right now I'm around $13,000 just out of my own money to make sure this person succeeds and feels comfortable, and that's not including everything else. So once we get down to the final 5, we're gonna have a basically a live interview with myself, the whole team, the selection committee, and then we're going to go through all of those. We're going to give it a day or two, let it kind of drone over, and then I want to select it down to the final 2, and then have like a Twitter Spaces and have the entire community, or maybe the final 3, have the entire community kind of hear their voice, like hear what they're saying, like who are these people, see how they do in front of a crowd. And again, what's great about that is that even if one of these, like the 2 of the 3 don't get selected, they're still getting seen in front of this large community. And again, the first ever Twitter Spaces I've ever held, like I had over 500 people in the room at one point, and it's just about, again, how you go about like really setting up the space and marketing it. So I want to make sure that I really drive it up. I tell people about this like a week or 2 before, days before, hours before, so that way the room is absolutely massive and there's a ton of eyes on these artists. And then eventually we'll get down to the last one. And again, it's myself, it's Logic, it's Perrin, it's Food Mask U, it's and Cas Vegas to help me select who the winner is going to be. So it's again a community effort by those who are extremely respected in the space, and that way not all the weight is put on me. So it's really a community project at this point.
All right, so that's unbelievable. Um, I have a strong feeling that someone from the Nomad Boulevard community is going to make it into the final five, at least one, and it's going to be really hard for bias to be removed from this process because we are going to really back that person. Please count on the whole Nomad Boulevard community to be in those Twitter spaces, to shout, to get the word out. Really excited, and as you were talking about, even if you don't get picked, those kind of finalists are still going to get a lot of exposure and a lot of eyeballs. I think you can pass the baton over to us as well after you select that person, and we can feature those 4 artists that didn't quite make it, and interview them in our rooms. We're going to be doing 2, 3, 4 rooms a week. And I think that's what this is about too. I mean, we're all trying to do the same thing in our own ways, applying different tactics. And yeah, I'm really, really excited about this, JR. And look, I know you don't need people telling you how great of a job you're doing, but you could have not done this at all, right? You could have just not done it. You could, and I'm really excited about this. So we brought up a couple people on stage. Looks legit. Joso, Sammy wanted to come up and was waving their hand. So why don't we start with Sammy? Anything that you want to ask or bring up or add to the conversation? JR, what do you think?
That was a great question.
Yeah, no, it's deep.
Wait, I was going to say, there was no question, right? I'm not.
No, there was no
No, I'm still thinking about it.
So, looks legit. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm not gonna lie, I actually thought I missed the question too, and I was about to check my internet for a second there because it's like, oh man, I got rugged. No, I'm doing well. And JR, this is kind of the first time I'm hearing about this. I love what you're doing, and I think what you just said, Heroes, is true. I think we're all kind of doing something well, not all of us, but there's a lot of you in the space who are trying to accomplish this in their own way and put on for artists in their own way and bring people up. And I love what you're doing. And JR, have you seen anybody else kind of take your approach yet? I'm just curious. Is there anybody else kind of just taking it on themselves and is funding somebody individually and it's turned into something like this?
So me personally, I haven't seen anyone, at least in the space. Not that I know of at all. To be fair, I know actually, funny enough, Cass Vegas. I just got on a phone call with her like 2 days ago, and I know that there's an art residency in Los Angeles that just started up too. But I think this is, at least me personally, this is strictly NFT related. But I have not seen. If you know anyone too, I would. After this, I am hugely open to partnerships, collaborations, whatever it may be. And so if you take a look at my character that I use, I actually call her Wagme, and that is just a huge shout out to the community over there with Kumo World. Oh my god, I drew a blank. It's a Kumo World character. I absolutely love the project behind it. And they even offered right off the bat, hey, we would love to support and do some sort of collaboration with you and Wagme. And so the collaborations are out there, but I have not seen anyone else kind of just say, you know what, I'm going to support someone like this and make sure that the entire community is behind him. But if you do know anyone, let me know, please. And I would love to get in contact with them and just spitball ideas.
Sure. Yeah. No, I'm not aware of anybody doing it on an individual or who kind of took the initiative like you did individually. And then obviously you've had a lot of support come your way, but certainly if I come across it, I mean, I know there's projects trying to do it. And, but I think just for somebody to step up and just I'm just going to do this on my own. I think it's kind of the ethos of our space defined perfectly. So of the NFT space defined.
And also it's not, elements of this are, obvious, right? Obviously artists need help in the space. We need to lift each other up. I mean, that part of this, I mean, the way that you organized everything and brought people together, That's not something everyone can do in the way that you did that. But the idea of saying, you know, in addition to room and board and stipend, I'm going to kind of bring my network of people that have made it, that are influential, that are experienced, that know what to do, what not to do, bring them all together and provide mentorship. I mean, how are we not doing more of that? I know Wes does this. I know Amanda does this. How are we not trying to do more of that? And I think, that's something super special about this project. One quick question, JR, and then I want to bring some more people up. Can you just remind me of what the requirements are to apply?
Absolutely. So there's several questions on the application, and one of them is like, what's your Twitter handle? What is like? Do you have a link to your artwork? So just either whether it be if you already have NFTs, like an OpenSea account, like you do not have to have like someone asked me like, hey, I don't have a like an OpenSea account or any NFTs. And I'm like, you do not have to have NFTs yet. Like we can use this we can use day one as an onboarding and kind of really jump you into this space. But I feel like most of the people that are applying kind of already do have one just because they're on Twitter Spaces and that's kind of how they found out. But and then like one of the questions at the end is like, uh, it's literally just says like, what do you love about yourself the most? And that's I'll be honest, like that's one of the questions I'm really like truly looking forward to reading the responses to the most. And because again, I only read about two or three of them, but it was extremely touching. Like just to remind yourself, like, hey, why am I doing this in the first place? And what do I love about myself the most? And one of the artists actually like retweeted that and said, hey, like this is an incredible last question. It really just she's like I'm crying right now because I'm like I forgot to just take a moment and pat myself on the back and say, you know what, I am doing a good job. Yeah, this is tough to make it as an artist, but like I know that I could do this. And so the requirements it's a when I tell you it's a super easy application, it's a super easy application. And it also asks like what so again, going into this, I want it to be I want the artist to have full creative freedom to do whatever they want. It doesn't matter what the medium is. It could be photography, it could be illustration, it could be dance, it could be music, it could be someone said in the room, well, what if I want to do pool float noodles and make sculptures out of pool float noodles? I was like, go for it. I was like, do whatever you want. Um, so as much freedom as I am giving you, though, I'm also asking, like, hey, I would love for you to have a collection idea in mind. So say, hey, like, I want to make sure that I focus a lot of my time on, and this is what and to be honest, I thought about this as like, once we get time to the final five, I'd really like them to create a thesis. So even if they don't get selected, the fact that like, hey, I'm thinking about like what I want my next collection to be, it sets them up for a path of success. So again, like a boat without a sail tends to go nowhere at all. So I want them to show up prepared and focused and ready to work on. Again, this isn't a vacation for a month. Like this what has turned into a cool, hey, have some fun in New York City for a month, has now turned into literally a boot camp, an NFT boot camp to make sure that you are getting things done. And that's what it takes. If you really want to make it, you have to put in the work. There is no substitute. You can't half-ass it in the NFT space and expect phenomenal results. Like you can take a look at, again, he's on stage, but like Wes, day in and day out, putting in the work. And that's not just saying, hey, I'm an artist and I'm creating art day in and day out. No, you see Wes in Twitter Spaces every day. You see Wes retweeting people every day. You see, like, it's not only that, he's going to IRL events and supporting people too. And there's a lot of individuals doing that too. Like, I see Crypto Jeweler in the audience too. Uh, he does that as well. Like, he's always a part of the community. He's always doing things he has to do. And I mean, I can go down a giant list of phenomenal artists that are doing that and like really putting the work. Like Matthew Crumpton, if you take a look at, you scroll down, he's got that. I actually have one of his real physical works of art in my house. That's how much like I think he's incredible. But like, you have to put in the work. And I saw this. Last thing I'll say on this little rant is like, don't be mad that you're not getting the results that you want without putting in the work that is needed. And because it is a lot of work, and it is a lot of like no, you don't sleep, you don't stop, and that's what needs to happen. And yeah, I did that, and I definitely like I burnt out, and but I would not fucking change it for the world because I went like 7-8 months hard, like the hardest than I've ever gone before, and it paid off. So I want to implore whoever replies, like it's it's going to be intimidating, but like it's because we want to make sure you're doing it right, and we set up a solid foundation so you succeed. And what up, Wes?
What up? So, I'm glad, JR, that you said boot camp because that's like the thing that I had in my head. Because so a couple things. One, like we have just the same attitude, you and I, about like how we got into this, our work ethics, how we feel about um, giving back. Like I'm on the exact same page with everything you're saying, and I think another thing I want to share with you is like for this thing, I don't just want to give an hour of my time. I think that's super fucking weak. Like I want to be a
90
resource.
minutes?
I want to be a resource that this individual has to text or call every fucking day. Like it for the entirety of the course, I want it to be like it's a boot camp. It's also like almost like an incubator, like catalyst for their career that they're going to get so much out of this where it could be maybe one conversation we have is about work ethic, and it's about because I think your mental attitude is 90% of this game. I think it's 90% of being a successful person is your mental attitude. But then we could have another conversation about, all right, technically maybe they're a Photoshop person, maybe they're a Procreate person, maybe they're wanting to get into 3D stuff, and like who knows someone, or myself, who can give them tips and tricks. Or now we go into, all right, selling, like the criteria. I think I could, you know I'm absolutely willing to share my perspective every single step of the criteria, from what the fuck's an NFT all the way to, all right, what do I do managing my collector base and my floor, should I care, with quantity, collections, and price moving forward, like all the way to the end of that, like, and the whole way through. Like I'm all in, and I want to be like a central resource for this person, because this is the most exciting thing. And I agree with what Hero is saying is, we all do this, and I'm like giving back, and we'll, blow someone up on stage one night and be like, your work's fucking awesome, and we'll buy a bunch, and it's awesome, and it's inspiring, and like keeping everyone inspired is inspiring me, it inspires them. And again, that's mental attitude, keeping them moving forward. But doing what you're doing is, I mean, I haven't even heard of corporations or large companies or colleges, or I haven't heard in the space anything like this, which
Well,
is
because
so fucked up.
it's not performative, right? So everyone knows what performative means. It means people doing something because they will be perceived to be, doing something good. And who knows? Maybe there's something that maybe that's part of it. But really, what this is actually doing it. I mean, it's just
Right.
living. It's action.
Yes, and I think it's the beginning of something bigger, and of a movement that's bigger. And I'm positive that 4 ETH, or whatever you said to start off with, for backing for this individual, will be a fraction of what it will be ultimately that will be thrown into the ring on this. And I also think it. So on a cheesy note, it makes me think of. I mean, I go to the Chappelle skit of this, but that like that real world, or no, the making of the band or some shit, the one that Puff Daddy did, where it was like a competition of all those rappers, and they like stayed in a house together, and what, like it feels
Dylon,
like,
Dylon,
yeah.
Dylon.
Exactly. So it feels like it has and so what I mean by that is, content wise and putting it out into the community, that is a successful equation, right? So I'm not saying to do that per se, even even close to it. And also, it's not a competition in that way. But to incubate this person and show progress, and is there video content? Is there, hey, here's what I'm working on today, or here's what I did today, here's what I'm doing tomorrow, or hey, can anyone help with, like, to get the community even to see it, look through the looking glass of like what they're doing, and get them invested on like this journey of what's happening. Everyone else can now also kind of learn along with them or get answers to the same questions. And I think even just showing the content will be another big way to give back. And I think that can be done no matter what, it'll be done well. But if you really like document it well, I think it can help so many more people in the community as well. And again, I want to also throw my hat in the ring to help with that. Like basically, JR, whatever the fuck you need, I'm all in on your project, and I would like to help you in all the ways from start to finish.
And that is why you are the patron saint of fucking NFT space. Like I genuinely appreciate that like so fucking much. And I do think we are on the same wavelength of just no bullshit. Just get it. What you know it needs to get done. Just fucking do it, and that's it. Like the I heard a saying, it was like what was the worst piece of advice that was ever given to you? And the guy was like, well, the worst piece of advice anyone ever given to me was that it's hard to be a millionaire. And he's like, it's not. It's super easy. You know what you have to do. Just go out there and fucking do it. You know that you have to work 15 hours a day. Okay, so don't complain. Yeah, if you do complain, complain on the side. Don't tell anyone. No one wants to hear you complaining, and just do it and get it done. And at the end of the day, hey, it's super easy. Just fucking put in the work. And so again, I think we're on the same level there. And what you're saying too is that I really really hope that the other artists involved kind of follow your ethos and follow your footsteps and kind of carry this individual under their wing, and support them. And I think what's going to happen too is, yeah, I'll be tweeting about them, but imagine like with your incredible following, like your audience, your loyal followers, and then we take again like the likes of Sabet, Sheila, Gabe, Nyla, Wahid with All Smiles, like Long Neck Ladies. You take these giant audiences, we're looking at like 200,000 new followers that are going to be shown to this artist. Because again, I'm sure they're going to be like, hey, just had a great conversation with the WAGMI Art Res winner, XYZ, and everything's amazing. Go check out their work, and can't wait for them to post their stuff. So like, it's the exposure alone is going to be monumental. So, Wes, just want to say again, thank you, and I truly do hope everyone kind of follows your footsteps as far as supporting this artist. And anyone that doesn't even get selected, like even if you're not uh, a participant in this uh, or anything, I think the incredible gesture of just retweeting or tweeting an artist's work. We say this all the time, but like it's free. You don't have to pay anything to retweet someone's work. And I'm sure it's happened with Wes, but I know me personally, when I've retweeted some of my friends' works, like it has at some points immediately uh, gotten sales. And it's like, hey JR, thanks so much. And I've gotten like messages, hey, I just bought their piece. Hey, thanks for putting me on them. Hey, that's amazing. Like that crypto uh, I forgot what his actual Twitter handle was, but like when I mentioned him prior, but when cryptocurrency, when he's like, hey, if you have any, 2-3 times, he's like, hey, if you know anyone that truly deserves their artwork to be purchased, let me know. And I'm like, okay. And then I had some friends like, hey, retweet my work, and I was like, hey, this artist is an amazing person, and he backed it up. And again, he was very blessed because he was fortunate enough with Bitcoin way back when, and I actually got a like a video message from him too, and was like, hey, like this is real, this is happening. And I was like, because I full disclosure, like way back when, for those who don't know, before even Oniforce, like I was an artist. I again was fortunate enough that I just dove head in, and I was a teacher, and I made my yearly salary in 2 weeks selling artwork. And I was like, I love the kids, but I'm out. Like I'm you guys are great, but like peace. I need to follow my own dream now. And so since then, I know what the struggle is like. I know how hard it can be, but I also know, given the right context, given the right people that support you, you can do anything. Because again, I did this with the support of an entire fucking community. Like Sabet, I know, because like I literally was talking to him first, like, and I built my own little community, my own little family to support one another. It's like even like Sarah Scripps, for those who don't know, like phenomenal calligrapher but also illustrator, and we were kind of championing one another in this space for a while. And or Art Jedi, for those who know Art Jedi, um, her and I were just basically pushing each other in these spaces. And like she just released her Genesis, and like it sold out immediately, but like she it's finding those people that are willing to retweet your work, repost your work, and more importantly, speak highly of you in a room when you're not there. um, so there's a ton of little tricks and tips that I'm gonna kind of give to the winner, and just I'm hoping everyone else is willing to support them as well. So we all want to see a Cinderella story come true. So being able to say, hey, we supported this artist when they first started, and then like a year from now, seeing them like just absolutely dominate the space, it's going to be a beautiful feeling for everyone that's involved. So sorry for that rant.
I honestly think that's super beautiful, JR, and you were in one of the first Twitter spaces that I jumped on when I got into the NFT space. And you definitely inspired me, and you were really encouraging when I shared my vision. But I'm 100% behind you. So if you need anything from me, let me know. I'm moving to Texas this year, so I'm selling my house. If it goes as I hope it does, then I will gladly purchase one of the pieces. So just let me know. So
Thank you, and manifesting amazing things for you with the move, and really do appreciate that. And, whereabouts in Texas?
I'm moving to Dallas area. So
So actually two of my good friends live there. It's absolutely gorgeous. So I think you're making the right move. Where are you now?
I'm in Nebraska, where I was when I last talked to you.
Sounds really. Do you guys have paved roads? Right?
Yeah, yes, we
jokes. Still riding buggies out there, right? It's horse and buggy, and
no. I
cornfields.
live in Papillion, which is like a suburb of Omaha. So, yeah. But I'm sort of like from South Omaha / East Texas, because half my childhood was South O, half of it was East Texas, and then lived in Florida, lived in Chicago, moved back to Nebraska, going back to Texas. So,
I love it. Oh, I was muted. I love it. That's fucking awesome. And just again, thank you. And that one last thing I'll say too, like just kind of individuals supporting you in the space, like looking in the audience and like finding your quote unquote tribe. So like finding those people that will always support you. I see like Paymon in the audience. Like we Paymon, you weren't here early in the room, but Hero Machine was talking about like what do you do when you get all these messages and you don't respond back to people. Paymon is case number one. What I love about him is that like Paymon knows I can get back to him in like 3-4 days, and I'll eventually get back to him. And I gave him like when I saw him in LA like 2 weeks ago, like I gave him like the biggest hug in the world, and I literally kissed him on the cheek, and I was like, Paymon, I love you. Sorry, thank you so much for being patient with me. Like he is someone that champions everyone in this space, and like I see Lawrence too. Lawrence does it a lot, and I feel like for the most part, like you see Cyber Alchemist too, like a huge supporter of just me in general too. And I just want to give you your flowers too. And there's just I feel like everyone just like and this is again less. I'm so sorry I'm all over the place, but like that the cryptocurrency who was on stage before, the one that like supported me early, what he said to me and it stuck with me is like, like JR, like, and they actually called me Jonathan. That was before I was even JR. He's like, Jonathan, there's so much ETH to go around that all of us can eat at the table. He's like, there's no reason why anyone should kind of feel like they're battling against someone else or they're trying to be better than anyone else in the space. It's like if we all just support one another, like beautiful things will continue to happen. Like, we will all win. Like, I can't stand the negativity in the space sometimes, where it's like people hating on people for the most childish reasons. It's just like, grow together, build this thing together, and we all say, yeah, we're so early, because we are. Build your community now, so that in 2 years down the road, or even like a year and a half down the road, when these giant ass companies come in looking to take over their space, like, we band together and they will come to us to support them, basically. And just, so form your tribes now is what I'm saying, for sure. And make that tribe as big as you can. Make it a nomad community where you're all together and banded as one.
Nomads.
Let's
go.
Shout out,
Go.
Where's my cheetah fur gang? I got a cheetah beard too. Shout out to Nomads for that too. And yo,
You got a
fire.
cheetah beard? No way.
Yes, I have a fucking cheetah beard, and I got tie-dye background, which goes with my tie-dye Bored Ape Yacht Club too. So it's like,
That's
it was
pretty rad.
literally perfect.
By the way, when we kind of whisper like that, I'm assuming that people can hear that, right?
Yeah, we can hear it.
Okay, just wanted to check.
Do you know, if you whisper, they taught us when I was teaching, they said you never want to command a room with your voice. And they said, if you really want to get, and this works sometimes, but if you ever really want to get the attention of your room, of your students, like, once you hit it, like, if it goes past a certain point, you've lost them. But if you whisper, people tend to listen more intently. So you can take this into just public speaking in general. If you lower your voice, they're like, wait, what is he saying? So just a little fun fact I learned in art education is to just be a little quieter, and then the room will listen. So I like that.
Let's go ahead and reset the room.
Let's do that.
So we have some new people here on stage. We've got Lost Boy, we've got Joy. Either one of you can go ahead and start. Joy, I think you came up first. I see you've got the Oni Forest, yellow background, bubblegum. What's going on?
I just wanted to say, listening, I'm very proud of my son. I think he's doing a beautiful thing. I think people should listen. Just listen and learn. I appreciate the community. The backing he's getting is great, and he deserves it because he's a great teacher. So, I raised my children to love everybody. Try to serve your community and be good people. And he's doing that, and I'm very proud.
Well, I appreciate you. For those who don't know, that's my mom. I love you, Mom, and thank you. And I'll be home in New York in about 2 weeks. So love you, and thank you so much.
Well, I was not expecting that, JR.
I wasn't either. So that's a nice little surprise.
That is
That
so
is so
sweet.
That is
It's
so
amazing.
awesome. Joy, you are always, always, always welcome on our stage. That's
Thank you.
amazing.
I've been listening for the last hour, and I keep tabs on my kids. I have 5 of them. Just want to make sure they're all okay.
That's a good mom right there.
You raised your kids well, then.
This is one of those examples of like people looking at the emojis on Twitter and being like,
Yes,
"No,
I did. I know I raised my kids well. I taught them to love.
I appreciate that. And then I see we also have Lost Boy. How we doing?
First of all, JR, before I get to you, I want to say, Queen Mother Joy, just so you know, I don't know what you did to create your babies and your children, but I have a feeling that you did great. You know what I mean? Like I feel like you did great. It's like when a mother is so dope that she effortlessly create beings that are thoughtful and caring and loving, it's a good sign. So I just want to say, Joy, I don't know you, but from a
I
woman to
love you
another,
already. I love
from
you
a woman
already.
to
Thank you so
another,
much.
you did that, sister
Thank you so
and
much.
queen.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, I just love how you just came like you just came in a non-pretentious way. You just like, I'm the
Yeah, well,
mother
that's
of
my
this
son, and I love
child,
him,
and
and he's doing great things. So appreciate.
that was probably the sweetest moment that I have experienced in the Twitter space. And the fact that I had to follow to this is a sign that I'm not too shabby as a human being.
Well,
um
you
I
keep
didn't
keeping
I
on.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, thank
It's
you.
I want to one day experience what it is to be a woman and create, beings that you don't know
Oh
within the
God, you
unknown
look
will.
at them, and
You
you feel the love,
Yes.
and you realize that you did something really good. You
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 know.
you made something, and God gave you this person, and you create them, and you try to teach them to be someone to always appreciate what you see. Don't don't hate. Just look and love whatever it is you see, and figure out a way to make things better. And I think I taught him well. I think he's doing right, and I'm very proud.
I love you, and you did good, Mom. You done did good. I really do appreciate you, and I'm sorry, but thank you, Mom. And sorry,
Yeah,
go ahead.
thank you, Joy. I don't know you, but I know you through your son and his legacy, and the way that he takes times to think of about others when he doesn't have to. I think that there's power in crossing paths with people that are extending themselves for others when they don't have to. Like, that's actually, like, I've actually started to really um build a respect for that, because like it reflects the power of choice. Like, I've seen what comfort looks like in terms of choices. And so it's yeah. Like, I was completely moved by just whatever you were sharing. I was like, wait, that's the mother of JR. Okay, so that means
I know
that's
he's embarrassed. I'm sorry.
no,
I didn't
like,
mean to break into his room,
no, you're
but
doing, you know what you're doing, Mama? If I can say that, if I can say that to you, you are bringing the simplicity of what NFT is about. As simple as I can say. Like, JR is doing his thing, like
I know he's
he's
embarrassed.
sharing. No,
That's
he's not.
okay.
He's You better own this, JR. But I just want to say it's what like, you showing up. I didn't know that you were. I didn't even know what the space was about. I don't know that many people in the space, but you brought what 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 I don't know how to explain it, but you made it approachable to tap into.
Well, look at what my son is doing. Appreciate it. If anybody's out there that can really use this to change their life, go do it, because my son is giving it to you. And I think that's beautiful. So just do it.
And I love that. I think that again, like, just to keep on giving you flowers, Mama. I'm very African living. Like, a mom is a mom for everybody, no matter what.
Always,
So I'm going to
always.
say it. This moment means the world to me, because I think that whoever is actually listening to this space, um, this moment is what people wish to have. When it comes down to the NFT, because all of us are either creators or connectors or enhancers. And sometimes, like, when we go through the journey of being part of this industry, it can be lonely in terms of the connection that we have with our family, right? And so, like, as I'm tapping into this new industry, like, I think of my mom, right? And to have a mother showing up and talking so well
I
about.
know, but he's embarrassed, but that's okay.
I just want to say it's so meaningful for so many of us in the space. So I just want to say thank you, JR, and thank you, Joy,
Well,
for showing the example of bringing our family. And like when we talk about community, I'm like, I don't know why people can be comfortable in talking about community if they don't bring their family in it. And so like it just happens so magically, and I'm just like, okay, see, here's an
well,
example.
I love him. I support him, and I hope you're all listening to what his message, and just appreciate my son.
I appreciate you, Mom. And is that Kai in the background?
Yeah, the dogs are fighting.
Yeah.
They're
What
not
kind of
fighting. They're
dog is
playing.
that?
Sorry,
What,
I'll leave.
what kind of
No,
dog?
no.
What kind of dog is Kai?
Kai is a pit bull, and we have two pit bulls, right?
Nice.
Yeah, they're but it's like they're the most loving,
They.
like.
It's not a pit bull. We have a pit bull and an American bulldog, and they're playing with a toy right now on the couch on top of me.
And like to reset the room.
The dogs are saying hi to you, GR. They're supporting you too.
The
I miss.
dogs are resetting the room, JR. No worry. The dogs got you.
But yeah, I guess we do we want to casually reset the room here? This is.
Yeah, look, I mean, I remember this one time where, I brought a couple people on stage, and I started with Joy and said, "What's up, Joy?" with the yellow background, the bubble gum, and the red headphones, and I had no idea what was going to transpire. I'm very happy you came up, Joy. Great to meet you, and look, let's talk a little bit about why we're here. Right, we're here because JR has launched WAGMI Art Res. This is an opportunity for artists, either in the NFT space or outside of the NFT space, that are looking to catch their break and are looking to work their ass off in New York for a month, which will be paid for by JR out of pocket. And will have the support of some of the top artists in the space, and not only the top artists in the space from a mentorship perspective, and building relationships with influential people, but exposure to the collective fan bases, collector bases, and communities of these different artists and influential people. Um, I think it's weird to say that I guarantee, that we are all are going to guarantee the success of this individual. I don't think anything is a done deal. They got to show up. They got to do the work. Their talent has to be strong. It has to be timely. Good decisions have to be made. But this is absolutely a clear setting the stage for success for an artist. And in addition to that one artist that gets picked, and JR kind of went through the whole application process, there are going to be 4 other finalists that, while they're not going to go to New York and have this experience, together as a community, we're going to figure out a way to really highlight them as well, and get them in the mix, include them in the Nomad Boulevard community. Um, and also JR was talking about how some other people in the space are offering to buy some of their artwork, donate ETH. Nomad Boulevard. I'm speaking on behalf of the community. I'm sure that there's a way that we can kind of include what JR builds into our community, because look, the mission and the values are all super aligned. Um, I know that there are people in the audience that have not requested to speak that are perfect they have already applied or should apply. JR moved the application deadline one day so we could do this Twitter space tonight. If there's anyone in the audience that has applied already or is thinking about applying that hasn't, I not urge, but I invite you and encourage you to raise your hand, request to come up on stage, say hello to JR, ask a question, tell the rest of the room what the application process was like. Are you nervous? Are you excited? Do you not think you're going to get it? Do you think you're definitely going to get it? I think it'd help a lot of people in the room to hear someone or some people speak about where their heads at about this application process. So we're just gonna sit here in silence until someone. Okay, we've got Mufasa. There we go. So JR, while Mufasa's coming up on stage, Mufasa is like, so we had him in a Twitter Spaces about feels like a year ago, which probably means it was a month ago. Let's just go with a month. And he came up on stage. We were all checking out his artwork. He was introducing himself. His friend Horror Bear told him that he should come up. He ended up selling like 7 pieces in the room live. I own 2 of his pieces. He's an incredible artist. He's in the Nomad family, Nomad community. He's a great guy, super supportive of other people in the space. I'm like, I'm placing my bet on this individual to make it. And um, he won. He's one of the 3 winners of the Nomad Boulevard derivative contest. So he's making moves. Mufasa, say what's up to the room. Tell everyone a little bit about kind of where you're at in terms of your art journey, and then obviously feel free to ask any questions to JR or any comments. Let anyone know what's going on.
Oh my God! What an introduction! That I'm completely speechless. that was the best thing I've ever heard ever. Oh, thank you, Hero, bro. That means so much to me. You have no freaking idea. JR, Wes, what's up, guys? Nomad, everyone in here. How y'all doing?
What up, man? How you doing?
What up, brother?
What up? What up?
Good, guys.
What up, Mufasa?
Yumiko, how are you?
Hey, my minion friend. Good, and you?
Yes. Oh man, I don't even know what to say right now. JR, dude, that what you're doing right now, honestly, is just something I've been like wanting to do if I ever make it in the space. And seriously, it's just
When you
absolutely
do, not if you do. When you do.
When I do, but hey, man, I'm praying, bro. If
When you
it's meant
make
to
it.
happen, it's meant to happen. You know.
Manifest it.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. That's the whole thing of the WAGMI mentality, which is definitely something that me and my friends are trying to accomplish. Yeah, honestly, this is the beginning of something. I hope a journey that I'm hoping is gonna really become something, and I'm just trying to make as many friends as possible because that's the only way you're gonna make it is with the people around you, and it just depends on who you build a community with that's gonna actually make things possible. I hope that makes sense, but yeah, this WAGMI thing is just something I absolutely love, and I just signed up right now. So if I get it, I get it. If not, it's nothing. That's just it's gonna happen. But yeah, I love everything about this, and yeah, it's just an absolutely amazing opportunity.
One, I just want to say thank you for applying and taking the time out of your day to do so. And I'm my first piece of advice, and this is to you and to literally everyone in the audience, is the narrative you tell yourself and the way you speak out loud. It affects whether like your subconscious. It affects you whether you know it or not. And saying like again, it's little things like, hey, if I make it, if this happens, if even if you don't quite 100% believe it yet, tell yourself every fucking day when you wake up in the morning, not just say it, you have to say it out loud, write it to yourself. Like, I'm going to fucking do this. I am going to be a successful NFT artist. I am going to do this full time. And then tell yourself the same thing at night before bed. A lot of people think again, I'm huge on manifesting, and it's something you practice. It's not something you wish for. People think, oh, I told myself that I wanted to sell all 4 of my pieces last night, and I didn't sell out. It's like it's something you practice day in and day out, and it really goes into your verbiage. So even with OniForce, like 2 weeks before we even launched, I was like I was telling myself like, no, we need to do more. We need to work more. And everyone's like, like, I don't know if this is gonna work. I'm like, I'm telling you right now, we are gonna sell out, but we have to do more. Like and even like early on, like first like week or two, I'm telling people like, no, we are gonna be successful. This is gonna be amazing. And yes, obviously our project has had its downfalls, but like I knew that we were gonna sell out, and you speak it into existence. So like moving forward right now, anyone in this room, even if you don't get anything out of it, like the way you speak like out loud truly define I truly believe will define what direction like you go in this space. And yes, like no one is ever truly certain. no one really truly knows what's going to happen. Life is life. Life can fuck you over 10 ways till Saturday. But if you can get up 11 times and just not fucking give up and say, I'm going to keep doing this, like you're going to make it happen. Like, again, there is no such thing as an overnight success story. Anyone that has made it in the space has put in, I mean, I fucking put in probably like 20 something years as an art. I'm 33. So maybe not, like, I'd say 15 years before the NFT space. I was grinding my ass off as an artist. Like, so it wasn't just this last 8 months that took me to where I am now. Like, one of the most, uh, and this is, I think maybe my ex girlfriend at the time, and like one other human actually knows this, but one of my lowest points in my entire life, I went to Plattsburgh State my freshman year of college, and I went there for soccer. My painting teacher was the most, I learned the absolute most for him, but he was also the biggest just asshole in the fucking world. Like, there was no gray area. He was a dick. Like, I love him to death. I learned so much from him, but he was just an asshole. And I didn't have enough money we had to create our own canvases. I didn't have enough money. This is sound pathetic, for staples to staple my canvas. I had to save my money for food. So I went in at, like, I think it was because we all had key cards to get into the studio space. I went in that night at like 9 o'clock at night. I was on God, I was on my hands and knees at 9 o'clock at night in the art studio looking for staples to staple my canvas together. I broke down and started bawling, crying. I was like, I never want this to fucking happen again ever in my life. And it took me hitting that, like, extremely just stupidly low point in my life of, like, I am literally scrounging on the ground looking for staples to staple together my canvas. And I didn't even have enough fucking staples for that. And then at the end of it, having to go to my teacher and be like, hey, like, do you have some staples for me? And I can see his face now. Look at me. He has these round glasses. He pulls them down. He's like, really? Like, you need staples? And I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have like, I need staples. And he gave me this, like, and I was like, I never want to feel that low again. So sometimes it's like, it's my villain origin story, but I guess my hero origin story. And I it takes, sometimes you go through these really tough times to get you to something better. So again, I think, uh, speak what you want into existence. And again, last thing I'll say, Mufasa, tell yourself you're gonna be a fucking, like, I am gonna make it. It is gonna be successful, and that just goes to anyone, and not just calling you out, because like I find myself too, but like, your artwork is fucking incredible. Like, I already retweeted it. You're gonna make it. Bottom line, like, just keep doing what you're doing in this space. Surround yourself with the Nomad community and, like, other artists as well. And there's no way you don't make it in this space. Like, bottom line. So I just wanted to say, ahead of time, congratulations on all your future success. That's coming your way.
That's actually really good, JR, and I can relate to that. I went through something similar when I was 19. Not exactly the same story, but like, he's right. It's not a overnight thing. This is something that we've been grinding at for our whole lives. I haven't even succeeded yet in the NFT space, but I just believe that it will come, and I believe that it's going to come with the way the passion desire I have is not for me. It's for a whole project of bringing traditional artists into the NFT space, but that's a whole side thing. But I can relate to being at that super low point and then having to find the confidence in myself that I could get back up and keep going. And that is possible, and you can believe in yourself to do that, to get back up and keep going and be more and rebrand yourself and believe that you are capable and you can. So don't ever don't let that moment define you, but let that moment grow you.
Ooh, I like that.
I
That's
also
key.
sorry, my bad.
No, go ahead. You're good.
I was about to say that I think that what's coming up for me too in this moment, and like the initiative that you decided to create, JR, is that when I hear people like Mufasa, or I guess it's RS Art Creations, I hear the pure aspect of what a creator is about, right? And so like when I hear voices like that, I don't know if it's because I care about the goodness of this world, but I'm like, I always want to make sure that people like that get to be seen by the right people. Because I think that what the NFT industry has really taught me is that, yes, like you can have all the opportunities in the world with that type of technology, right? Like you can blow up, you can find the right people, like the not even the right people, but the people that gets you to the next level. But something that I've witnessed too many times, especially in LA, hello, is finding that genius in terms of creativity, and seeing that genius being destroyed by this, like this formula where you just like you find the purity of a creator, but it's in the wrong hands. And so when I saw this residency, and also what you're about, and also the people that you connect with, it wasn't just about the opportunity. It was the alignment of that opportunity and the integrity of this opportunity. And I think that for a lot of artists that are coming to the NFT industry, there's this like eagerness, and it's not even about like, because like when people think about entering that industry or that technology, they think that it's just a bunch of newbies that just comes into it. And oftentimes it's not the case. Like there's actually people that have established themselves, or that have worked on their craft for a long time, or have known themselves for a long time. And so I just wanted to highlight the potency and what this residency represent, because it's the right one. Like this, like I always say to myself, like there's nothing where, like I feel like the biggest plague for a human is to reach their goals without making sure that they are part of that goal, like they haven't erased themselves in the process of reaching that goal. And so I've seen like for the months that I've been in this industry, and the people that I've connected to, like I like and when I say like my experience has been like the Cinderella story. But what I loved about my Cinderella story is that I connected to the 1% of the NFT, and I've seen enough of the excuse my French fuckery to know how to be intentional. And I just want to say thank you for the people who create the platform so that there is longevity in those success stories. I want to hear and see and witness more success stories that are relatable. And that's what WAGMI residency for me is about. Is to say like, if we are believing that concept, let it be a place, a platform, a mentorship program that actually reflects what it is to be truly authentic, that reflects what genuine people is, that reflects what it looks like to say, I gave a shot to what the universe had for me, and that shot didn't turn into me losing myself in the process. And that's more important than the results, because that JR and all the people that are on in this room, like with you, it's it's a catalyst to the longevity of what NFTs are all about. And I just want to say thank you for that, JR, and thank you for artists like Mufasa and all the people out there, because I swear to God, it's not about the drop party that turns into success. Is the story, is the journey, is the failures, is the once upon a time I had no idea what the fuck I was doing, and people just were real about it and just like helped me like get into it. Is that's more important than what happens for that creator. And so I just want to say thank you, JR, because I've paid attention to you enough to know that you're a real one in this space, and whoever connects to you is a real one. And I want to make sure that we normalize integrity as the new currency in NFT. And I'm not trying to be a beauty pageant like coming up with idealistic ideas. That's what's going to actually create that WAGMI attitude. And I just want to say it's good to be a part of this movement. And yeah, I feel like that's the win for me, regardless to where it takes us.
How do you follow that up? Like, I, I, I
Seriously.
appreciate that. So, you're right though. Like, go ahead, Mufasa. I'm sorry.
No, dude, that's totally. I'm not trying to interrupt anybody.
No, that's how you follow it
I'm
up.
agreeing.
You just say, "How do you follow it up?" and then you pass it to Mufasa and you put him on the spot.
No pressure, Mufasa, no
I
pressure.
wanted to add on to what Lost Boy said, but same thing with JR. Like, well, first of all, thank you so much for sharing my art. Like, dude, you have no idea how much that means, especially like I think I stutter in every single space just from how like happy I am. But Hero knows that. But yeah, that's just I think that's just how I am. But yeah, y'all wanted definitely. You guys are absolutely right. This I should have added on to what I was trying to say, but the whole thing of manifesting and just like saying yes, I'm gonna freaking make it in this space is definitely something I've learned these last 4 months of joining the space, and even before that, I think I'm way younger than all of you guys, but I still have went through that thing of being able to push forward and then be like, okay, I'm about to make it, and then getting held back, and then going through that process over and over and over and over again to the point where you're just about to give up, and you're like, screw this, and then all of a sudden finding a community, a supportive community that helps build you up. Like this whole feeling of I've happened to me a lot where I was trying to be like make it, and I was able to maybe like 2 months of like work and progression, and then to be pulled back by something I don't know what it is, and it just for years, and then finding this community, especially the NFT space, how amazingly supportive they are through Nomad, all the friends and artists I've met through Wes, everyone on stage and not on stage. um, this feeling of not pulling myself forward individually but as a community, like a community support bringing me up like with them, and it's just literally the wagman mentality is what it's all about. And now more than ever, and I've been talking to my mom's about this because she's like my best friend, as cheesy as that sounds. I'm like, Mom, I'm like, everything, this mentality of mine is just completely shifted in the last 4 months. I'm starting to feel like I could actually do this, right? Like it's just an amazing feeling, and I could just even feeling it now, especially with you guys. It just that's strengthening that feeling. It just makes me want to keep going, right? And so more than ever, I will make it. I will make. I know I will. It's just I want to be able to do it with those around, with the right people, or I don't know, that doesn't sound right, with the community, not individually, but with the community, because that's way more important to me than anything else.
And you live by that too. I mean, we see how active you are in the community, and you're creating. You're part of the community. You're speaking the good words. You're humble. You're just at the beginning. I think everyone. I think everyone can feel that in the room. Mufasa. I'm gonna segue based on what you just said, to Eric Kerbelling, who's also on stage. He's been up here for a minute. Um, I think that just Mufasa, something that Eric did last year with his art, is kind of it was such a big move. And I guess my advice to you is, whatever moves you're taking, like go bigger, like bigger moves. Like you just have more capacity than you think you do. So with that, I'm going to transfer over to Eric. Eric, you know how many times I've tried to get you up on the stage over the past 3 or 4 months, right?
Yeah, no, I know. Anytime it's like around cooking dinner time that like the conversation goes away from where I was at, and then I start cooking dinner, and then I'm out. So I'm glad to be up here, though.
But really
Cool.
quick before you get into it, Eric, I just want to say right before you get into it, you are very much undervaluing your art as far as pricing. That's my
Appreciate it, dude.
quick
Yeah.
2 cents. Just want to throw it out there, but continue into it. Sorry, I just looked at it 0.05 and I was like, this is fucking, you're kidding me. So raise your prices as of tomorrow.
Hell yeah. Well, I'm finishing up this piece that I'm going to drop tomorrow anyway, so I appreciate that. But dude, I had a question for you. I just kind of wondering where your head's at, and maybe I missed earlier in the conversation of what the kind of ideal candidate is for you, like where they are as far as, relevancy, not relevancy, but experience within the space, and where they're at in their career, because what you're kind of offering is like incredible, and that's not, I'm just wondering if that's like, this is to like pump somebody up from the beginning, or where your head's at with when you're selecting applicants.
Absolutely. So for me personally, basically, I guess me individually, I'm looking at like two criteria. One, and for me, this is most important to me, is are they just a good human? Are they a good person? Are they active in the community? Are they uplifting others? Are they giving back? Are they worthy of this opportunity? But then as far as like how far along are they in their career? As long as they're, if if someone's selling art as like on OpenSea, great. But if you're not living full time off of your NFTs, this is for you. Like if let's say you're on like all you need is that, and again that's kind of like the like what happened way back when I talked with like how it all started with Michaela. Like Michaela was crushing it in the space. Like she's actually like like having phenomenal investments in the space, like picking up NFTs, buying, selling, was selling her own NFTs, but like was still not quite yet a full time artist. And she's like, hey, all I would really, and that's how this whole idea came, was like, all I would need was like I would just need 1 month completely focused, don't have to worry about anything in the world besides my art, and like just spend as much time as I need in Twitter Spaces, then I know I could be a full time artist. And what you realize too, and this it was the most, again, the most beautiful thing, but the scariest thing, like when I was uh, the first time I basically was a full time artist, was when you don't realize how much time, how much free time you actually have when all you have to do is focus on art. So again, when I was a full time teacher, I was teaching from like I was up at like 6 in the morning. I didn't get done till about 4 or 5 in the afternoon, and then from like I'd have dinner, and then from like 6 o'clock at night till about 2, 3 in the morning, I was working full time, like just nonstop. I got no sleep ever, and that was all of us on Clubhouse. Like we literally didn't sleep at all, and I was getting like 4 or 5 hours of sleep max, and I repeated that cycle for like 2, 3 months until I was like, you know what, I'm fucking done teaching. And then once I find out, like once you realize how much free time you have after that, and just completely focus on your art, so many doors and so many opportunities open up, because you just complete frank, like honestly, you didn't have time to open those doors, you didn't have time to find those opportunities now. And I don't want to keep saying back up against the world, because let's say now you're fucking crushing it. Like even today, like for lunch, me and Taylor Warhurdle, we went out to lunch with I can't say who the artist is, but like he's a fucking massive artist, and he wants us to onboard him in the NFT space. And it's because we had this time to chill, like reset, and like really build our base and just focus full time on NFTs, that these opportunities are presenting themselves to us. So to go full circle, this is just for literally anyone. If you're selling NFTs and you're doing well, you're selling like let's say $1,000 here, great, like apply. But if as long as you're not making a full time living off of NFTs, then I want you to apply. And again, like even before this, I was like when I was just an artist, I even wrote a book called, you can get it on Amazon, called like How to Make It as an artist, a full time artist selling your work on Etsy. So I was scraping by, but I was still selling 40, 50K a year just selling artwork on Etsy alone. So there's a lot that goes into it, but all I'm saying is, yeah, if you're not doing it full time, then apply. And if you're a good human, apply. And if you, because again, I'm gonna be doing my research. I'm gonna be checking your. This is so good out to anyone. I'm gonna be checking your Twitter, be checking like if I find Instagram, whatever it may be, and just making sure you're not posting like hatred, like just hateful things, or and just looking to make sure you're supporting others, because we're gonna be giving you all the support in the world. We want to make sure that you take this opportunity to pay it forward as well. Sorry for that rant.
No, that's perfect, and I think you'll like my application then.
Let's go.
Hell yeah. I'm glad you applied, Eric. That's awesome.
I have one more. Well, I see some of people's got their hands up. I have one more question, kind of on the application. I can come back to that though, if people want to talk on that. But on
No. Do you know how hard it is to get you up on this stage? Ask the second question, and then we'll go to Senator Greaves after that.
In the one section, you have like, what's the project you want, or like what would the collection be? Just wondering how I don't know how strictly you're taking that, just because like that's a ways from now, and I think how fast stuff moves, or how much like I don't know. I'm currently working on things. I put my immediate next things that I think will probably change by then. Just wondering what your thoughts on that are, if that gets like crafted as it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I mentioned earlier, like I want the artist to have complete freedom, and more so once we get down to the final three, and that's going to be like I'd say about 2 or 3 weeks out from actual, maybe even a month out, so they have time to plan to head to New York. But like, I'm gonna have them basically write down a thesis or an idea of what they want, and the only reason I'm doing that is so you have some general guideline of like where you want to take this project. But let's say like 2 weeks in, literally 2 weeks into the residency, you get completely inspired by something else. It's like fucking do it. Like go for it. Like I'm gonna be coaching you through this as well. Like I'm gonna be like, hey, if you think this is the way you should go, fucking follow your dream, follow the stars, follow your footsteps. Because like all of us in this space, like most certainly myself included, if you check out my collection, like let's say I have like 4 right now, but if you check out my Break the Internet collection, it's a fucking shit show. Like there is like so many different things happening. There's no like you can vaguely see a common thread of like I have a lot of like Renaissance inspired art, but then there's also shit that like does not belong in there. But like it was a learning process for me. So like I want to take this opportunity to like basically say, hey, I fucked up in 100 spots. Don't make these mistakes and do this instead. But yeah, like as far as like specific collection, that's just me to get an idea of like where your mindset is at. So yeah, I totally hear you. Like in 1 week, this entire space could literally fucking shut down for all we know. So yeah, it's definitely not hard pressed by any means. Also, shout out to William Tong in the audience. He's my brother from another mother. Love him. That's all. Sorry.
I know Senator Greaves had a couple of questions.
Hello, Nomad crew.
Hey. Oh, by the way, really quick, Senator, if I remove you off stage, nothing personal. I have some requests of new people wanting to come up on stage, so I'm just going to make some space. Just putting it out there. Senator, over to you.
That's perfectly fine. Actually, I have a phone call with Conrad in about 2 minutes here, so I'll make this brief. One thing, whoever gets this is going to just sitting down with an hour with Wes Henry is worth the price of admission right there. I mean, you're gonna get a fire hose of information off that guy, as
Thanks,
I
brother.
have. Yeah, absolutely. So JR, recently I worked for a company, the company that did non-fungible people. I'm not sure if you're aware of that project. I've just been made lead on their new project, and I'm going to talk to the COO tomorrow and chief of staff and see about connecting with you and trying to help out your cause here. I think we align well.
Let's go. Honestly, thank you. Even just anything and anything at all, I'm open to literally everything. So I appreciate that.
Well, I shot you a DM, and I didn't want to get lost in the sea of unread DMs you were discussing earlier. So, yeah, just write me back, and we'll connect you guys hopefully tomorrow or whenever you're available. But I've already written them an email and told them about your project here and urged them to look into it, and I'm sure they will.
Again, thank you 1,000%. I'll be sending you just a follow-up DM right now, just put you at the top, and really do appreciate that.
Yeah, you bet. And I'll let whoever's I got to jump on a call with Conrad now, so I turn over the stage to you, Danny.
All right, Senator.
What up, Connie?
All right, and also bringing up Jesse, Kelly. Let's go over to you first. Is there something I know you requested to come up a minute ago? Over to you.
It was the point has passed, but I just wanted to say thank you to JR. I think that what is important about this WAGMI, I guess I'll call it a scholarship. Is that what you call it?
Yeah, that works. Residency or artist residency.
Yeah, I think that what's important is that it kind of brings hope to a lot of people. Do you think of it that way? Is that you bring hope to a lot of artists to, I think it brings a lot of people hope that they will be recognized.
1,000%. And again, so all the conversations that are had with the artist one on one with like again like the likes of like Wes Henry and Nyla and Wahid and all these individuals, like I want to record these and be able to share them with everyone. So then it's not just this one person getting all this complete just alpha, but like saying, hey, if again, yeah, it's so true. Like, yeah, this one just to show you how if the community comes behind one person, like that can literally be anyone. Just build. It's all about building your community. So yeah, I really do hope it inspires others to like say, hey, if they do it, like I can fucking do it too. You know?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, thank you for this. I actually came on stage earlier, and then I was feeding my kids, so I stepped down. The first question I had was, okay, so very recently, and this was like several weeks ago. I got an Oni, and I was really late to get an Oni, but I don't have a ton of money, so it was like late in the game that I got an Oni. And I was super excited about it. But how can people support you now, like personally? Is it like looking through your collection or and getting stuff for your collection?
Uh, honestly, the only support that I need, and I've been very vocal about this, is my mental support and my mental health. Uh, I appreciate the um, that even offer. Like again, I do have like I've again been very fortunate. I think it's up to around like just one of my collections is around like 60 ETH sold, which is a good number. But yeah, the only thing that I've been really challenged with is stress, and
Yeah.
yeah. So if just once in a while, just checking in, I think would be it really does mean the world. Like if you see William on stage, like again, this is I'm just gonna be completely transparent. I don't care right now. So for the first time in my entire life, about a week ago, I had an anxiety attack. Well, I had anxiety attacks before, but I actually and this I want to talk about community right now. I had a severe anxiety attack, and for the first time in my life, I actually passed out uh, in my home, and I was actually on the phone with, if anyone knows, Food Maskew. Food Maskew is just one of the most beautiful humans you'll ever meet,
Yeah,
and
well, most of us know who he is, and a
yeah,
lot of us know him kind of personally.
yeah, and he took the time about like an hour, it's like 1 o'clock at night, to talk to me on the phone, and I woke up and I was obviously just really scared. I'm like, what the hell just happened? And I woke up on the floor, and he's like, hey, you've been out for like 20 minutes, but he stayed on the phone with me, and then after that, I was like, I collected myself, and I'm like, okay, I'm like, breathe, I'm okay. And then I started getting really anxious again. I'm like, what if this happens again? And then you see William Tong on stage at 1 o'clock in the morning. I called him up. I'm like, William, like, I need you. Like, I'm a 33-year-old, full grown ass fucking adult man. I'm like, William, like, I need you to come over. I'm like, I'm not okay right now. Like, my head, something's not right. And he's like, dude, I'm there. It's done. Like, say no more. And that, I just want to go to show, like, this is it is so much more than fucking money, than NFTs, than like I say it all the time, but like this is NFTs has given me a whole new community and just life in general. So if anyone wants to ever support me, just send me just not you don't have to do it tonight, but like randomly in a week from now, just check in, and I would love to check back. So Kelly, that's a beautiful question. So thank you for asking that.
I feel like that's what we all want. Is just like other people to care about us, right?
100%, and I think that's part of the reason why like I just love giving back, and we all do. I feel like everyone on the stage loves to give. So even you just asking that question is showing how thoughtful and how much you want to give back. So just thank you, and I'm here to support you with and again anyone, to be fair, with anything you need too. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for showing that you care with this, with this.
Absolutely. And I also see some of the supporters of this project in the audience as well, like Perrin, Cass, who are both Eric Motivate, all are gonna again help me select and talk to some of these individuals too. So I just want to give them all the flowers in the world for supporting me with the project as well. And then side note too, so I shouted him out already before, but Burning Bush, again, talk about community. I was in downtown LA, and he's like, I literally, I don't know if I tweeted about it, but I'm like, shit, I need to move. Like I was moving some of my stuff, and he's like, all right, dude, I got you. And him and his wife, they literally, again, they were in LA uh, for like 3 or 4 days, and they both helped me move. And they both DM me like every other day, like, hey, literally just checking in. Like 2 days ago, Lee just literally messaged me like, just hey, I love you, I'm here for you, just want you to know that, and that's it. So yeah, just beautiful fucking community. Him and his wife. Shout out to both of y'all. I love you both. But
Damn, dude, that's a big one. I feel like I would be willing to do just about anything. If someone was like, "Yeah, but can you help me move?" I'd be like, "Nah." Like that's the one. That's the
I'm like
one
right
thing.
there with you though.
That's a big, but for real though,
Come
it's
on,
like
man.
that's
It's
cool.
free exercise.
I mean, but I get
You
lots
don't
of
even have to go to
exercise.
the gym. You get like free pizza, beer,
But
hanging
I
out
mean,
afterwards.
my gym is free and it's like exciting and awesome, and I get exercise every day. So it's like
It's just
just.
boring to be at the gym.
I love the gym. I don't know. I'm not moving is just. Anyways, I digress. I'm just kidding.
Well, it was funny because it was true.
Also, so one quick thing on that, JR, just so you know, again, I'll throw my hat in the ring for that because a long time ago, it's been a while. It was when I was out of college. I also suffered from panic attacks and heavy anxiety and know what that's like because part of, I think, what people don't understand is that the panic attacks feed on your anxiety to have another panic attack. So it's like your fight or flight response creates this snowball and cyclical effect that, where people can be in the middle of a grocery store and all of a sudden go into a panic attack. And it's part of that is like the fear of having it is so intense that if you even get a little twinge of that like butterfly anxiety thing happen in your body, your mind will notice it and go, "Oh my God, that's my biggest fucking fear in the whole world. It's happening again right here wherever I am." And it'll explode hockey stick growth and you'll have one on the spot. And that is like a curse of itself and it just keeps happening. And there are methods of dealing with that. And to every person is different. So everyone is not all the same when it comes to that. Just like art, just like the NFT world, just like business. But if anyone ever needs help or wants to talk about things like with that, I'll just say in general, things that have helped me. Stop drinking, stop smoking, stop doing drugs. If you have a hangover from fucking rocking out the night before, because we all know that's what self-medicating is getting fucked up and it's really fun and that's what people do, and we just got through a pandemic that no one was watching you and you didn't have to go anywhere, so maybe those habits got worse. But like so a lot of people their habits got better, and but I would say most people, their habits probably got worse. So I think coming out of this, there's going to be so many more people that are suffering that online is all they got, and they didn't get enough exercise, they didn't get enough sunlight, they didn't get enough nutrition, they are hungover almost every day or a lot, and some of those habits are really, really terrible, and that's how you find yourself drinking way too much because that can pacify a lot of anxiety if you just pick up and drink it again. But those cycles are absolutely terrible, and it's very difficult to get out of them. But if you can stop drinking and eat healthy, fitness, I think, is the number one thing that has changed my life. And that's not like, oh yeah, we all got to go get fucking jacked in the gym. It means cardiovascular health, like having a healthy heart, is like the superhuman cure to all ailments. Like if you ask any physician how you can live longer and beat all the different diseases, like the number one factor that brings your risk down for everything and improves your mental health is cardiovascular health. So getting to the gym, hitting the Peloton, hitting the treadmill, hitting some weights, doing resistance training, whatever you're into, you can make it fun. Go outside if you live in a nice climate, whatever it is. If you try and do that and work up, get a good sweat going, that's what tones down life. And especially in the NFT game, sometimes it can be high pressure, high money. You're watching prices. Hey, my net worth just got cut in half in 24 hours. What the fuck? Like, there's a lot of emotions involved in that. And if you'd like to turn down the volume of life, I promise you that fitness is a way to do that. And I believe it's the best way I've ever found. And I've basically tried everything for the last decade, over a decade, coming out of college. So I will recommend that. And then on top of that, if you're in the mindset of starting your day, for instance, with a workout, not everyone's a morning person, whenever you got to get it. But the reason why starting your day, it's good to do that is that it puts you in a certain mind state. And when your endorphins come up and you feel good about yourself, you feel good about the future looks a little bit brighter. Your problems look a little bit more fun, look like fun challenges as opposed to like these terrible, daunting hurdles that you have to get to throughout the day. That it's very important. And then getting through all those daily tasks, you feel more accomplished. And now the opposite snowball builds and you're feeling good about yourself. And so you can do things like, oh, you know what, today maybe I will have a salad or something more healthy, as opposed to saying fuck it and just eating a pizza and some like Coca-Cola bullshit that is just like liquid poison. So all of those things, I guess just that thing and then that catalyst into all those other things and snowballs into them, are big helpers. So I'll just make that public service announcement. Everyone is different. Okay. I'm not trying to I don't want to get in trouble for being like, that's how you do it. And someone's like, oh my God, my dad died at the gym, you fucking asshole. But whatever your way of coping is, try that. There's so many people that the doctor could tell them, a psychiatrist could tell them, hey, you know what is as effective as an SSRI is working out. And the percentage of people that will say okay and then do that is so fucking low, especially in America, is really only I can speak for. The things that I've read is just on a national level. It's so low, the people that will actually go and try to do that. It's astounding. Everyone wants a pill to fix their problems, but I promise you, start on the fitness, and after a couple months, let's see where your problems are, and I bet they're different.
Wes, dude, you're absolutely freaking right, dude. That cannot be any more. Dude, why am I stammering? I swear, you're right. That's all I want to. I want you to say you're right, because when I'm doing my art and I'm just sitting on the couch, and my dad actually, every time he comes home from work, he's like, "Did you work out today? Did you work out today?" I'm like, "No, I didn't work out today." He's like, "What the hell are you doing?" He's like, "This is not. You can't just make art all day. You got to have the balance." And he's like, "You're not going to be able to make. You're not going to keep that. You got to keep your mind open. You got to clear your mental." And he's absolutely right. Every time I properly schedule my day and be able to work out before I start my art, I feel like my mind's opened up and I have more creativity, more ideas, and it's just so good for you. But I don't know why I don't push myself more, because I grew up with sports. I don't know about you guys, but I grew up with sports, and just not working out is just I don't feel like I'm completely myself if I don't do so. I don't know about you guys, but yeah, Wes, you're absolutely right.
I mean, I believe so far into it, and whether athletic or not, by the way, everyone, come from a sports background as well. I wasn't some stellar athlete, but yeah, I agree. I was always doing something and played outside and shit as a kid, every day. That was my jam. But it doesn't matter if you did or not. honestly, if you don't have physical health, you can't have mental health. Like there's just no fucking way. All these people that sit inside all day, don't get any sunshine, don't get any exercise, don't raise their heart rate, and they're just eating and getting obese, and you know who you are, right? Like that you're not getting off the couch enough, and you're just subduing your brain with little hits of dopamine from Twitter or Instagram or binging shows on Netflix or whatever. Like, there's zero chance that we're not all guilty of that since the pandemic started. Just, I mean, it's tough when you get going, but when you learn that it's connected to being happy every day, then you have a different appreciate. It's not just about physically looking good. That is another byproduct that you get. How amazing is that? It's an antidepressant that won't give you terrible side effects. It actually gives you great side effects. It gives you all kinds of other benefits. But the biggest one is your fucking mental health. I'm telling you, please, I'm not a doctor, but that has changed my life. I'll stop ranting there.
Oh, you're good, Wes. We love this conversation, man. How's it going, everybody? What's going up, Nomads? What's going up, JR, Mufasa?
What's up, Jesse?
Man, doing good, doing good. Good to be alive. I've been up for, I think, 18 hours, but hey, here we are. I love it. I want to tie into that cardiovascular statement, right? We're going to play on lung capacity. For everybody here, they're thinking of fixes, right? Tips and tricks. Through my meditative process and my art, I see that as the materialization of my meditative state. What that means is my attention in all moments, at least in hopes in all moments, is to be in the present moment and aware of my breath. If you can stay aware of the present moment or aware of the breath, the sensation of the breath rising and falling, that will naturally settle your attention into the present moment that we're all in right now. And I absolutely love that this type of conversation comes out when I'm late at night. All of this motivation is fired up. People from all around the world are listening in. Mindfulness and meditation exercise. We don't say meditation in terms of sitting on a cushion and doing nothing. Can you maintain that mindfulness and that attention to the present moment once you go back into your daily life? Once you're talking to 800 people a day on Twitter, are you going to give up that energy, or are you going to be able to return that attention again? As you get pulled, you come back, get pulled, come back. We're all going to get distracted and stressed and be anxiety ridden. That's okay. We're all human. The point is can we catch ourselves and come back? So I just wanted to say thank you again for that. I'm going to keep it simple. But again, my art is the direct materialization of this. It's very hard to say tangible because this is a state that's kind of ever fleeting, right? Everyone wants to feel a state of bliss. But they don't always know the work and the physical aspects that takes, and a practice that needs to be developed to then see the benefits of that, such as Wes said, like going to the gym. That's helping you in a myriad of ways: draw the attention, expand the cardiovascular system, get the body moving, obviously levels out your dopamine, oxytocin, all those good hormones. But the trick when leaving there, they go, oh, well, I feel great at the gym, and then I get to work and I just hit a hole. Return your attention to your breath and just be in the present moment. I promise you that can save you. It might seem a little woo-woo at first, and because you're going to notice how undisciplined your mind is, but you'll go, oh, I'm thinking of don't take the dog. Be here. Oh, well, maybe I'll go make be here. It's that monotonous and that simple, but I promise you, just try that as best you can daily, and you'll feel some traction give a little bit. But that's all I'm gonna say for now. I just wanted to bounce off of that. Banks had their hand up for a minute down there.
Hey, sorry, give me 1 sec. I'm actually outside walking my dog. I'll be back in a sec.
No worries, no worries.
Banks, what kind of dog you got?
He's a Brindle Pit Bull Mastiff. He's a
Oh damn.
Yeah, he's a giant baby. He's a blonde pit bull.
Damn, a brindle is my shit. I think that is the most beautiful coat color in a dog that I've ever seen.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I actually adopted him slightly before COVID started, which is kind of sad because like they were actually about to put him down because he's been returned a lot. But he's actually like the most sweet dog ever. I mean, literally when I went through his records to see like why they were returning him, it was just because he pulls on the leash too much, which we've corrected, and this was dumb, and it was because he like I can't remember what it was, like another dumb reason. I've just put it. But yeah, no, he's such a sweet dog. His name's Homer.
Homer, that's all.
Yeah.
Is he a puppy or is he older?
No, he's like 6 years old, or no,
Oh,
sorry,
so he's
five,
like,
five.
so he's how much does he weigh? Like I'm gonna guess
He's around like
75.
98.
Oh,
Yeah, he's a big boy, and he thinks he's like the size of a chihuahua. So,
that's amazing.
but yeah, I mean, I guess I'll start talking. I'm a what's it called? So yeah, no, on the topic of like mental health, like that's something that's been super important to me for like the past like 4 or 5 years now. um it's something that's super important to talk about. I feel like not a lot of people do, and I feel like especially in like the web 2 community, it's not so welcomed in a sense because everybody kind of wants to put up like a front in a sense that like it doesn't exist, or like anytime, like I mean I've personally seen it. I haven't had it happen to me, but I've seen that people like they'll say like, "Oh yeah, I'm here for you," and then when you need them, they're like nowhere to be found. Or like random strangers on like social media are like, "Oh yeah, we're here for you," like in the comment section on like Instagram specifically, and then they're like, you see that same person like make fun of something like some video on the topic of mental health. So it's like kind of just weird. Um, but yeah, so sorry, I'm like walking back to my place, and I actually need to get back in shape because yeah, those stairs are tiring. um, but yeah, so with mental health, that's just something like I've been working on because in my past I use like a lot of my mental health situation, like I would say I can't blame it all on my mental health, but like my actions were just not the best. But when I started studying like psychology and all of that, I realized that like certain things that have happened to me kind of stemmed from somewhere else, and I let all of that snowball. Um, and yeah, so it's been super important to me that I wanted to correct those mistakes that I was doing because I realized that I was unhappy. Um, and I wasn't super optimistic or anything like that, but I kind of kept that mindset that even if I'm not optimistic, that I should aim to be, in a sense, because it's also really negative to think that I can't be an optimistic person. So sorry, I'm out of breath. Jesus. But also, I just ate like before I went downstairs. But yeah, so anyway, with Web3 specifically, to tie it all back together, something that I really enjoyed about Web3 is the fact that like it kind of take because even though Twitter is still Twitter and still Web2, there's a huge difference, at least in my opinion, from Twitter to like NFT Twitter in a sense, and that community is vastly different from the original, and it's a lot more positive. It's a lot more positive. Like I have noticed that a lot of it's like fake positivity, but I have seen a lot of community members being just genuinely nice people, and you don't see that often in Web 2. So I'm super thankful for that because like on the topic of like what Wes was saying and then Jr. It's like I used to be big into like fitness. Like I was sponsored by a few fitness brands, and I kind of like quit because it wasn't making me happy. It was actually starting to feel like a job. And as well, like I used to get on rooftops and get pictures, and I don't know, in the height of my depression, like it helped me, and then towards the end of it, I started going through depression again, but in like a different way that like it started to feel more like a mental block in a sense. So yeah, it's a health is one of the biggest things. I actually used to be a trainer at Equinox, and I used to like love fitness. I was working out for years, but Wes is completely correct. Like I've right now, I'm not like I'm the furthest thing from like being in shape, but it at the time, like yeah, it does help you like grow. It helps you just be more active. Getting outside and just breathing fresh air is just good for your mental state. I know everybody comes into like the NFT and Web3 community for like their own goals, which is healthy and great and positive. But you also have to realize that because a lot of the people that I've seen, like, I don't know if anybody else has realized this, or noticed this, but there's a lot of community members that I come across that just seem to be on spaces like nonstop, 24/7, all day long. Like, and I'm like, do these? I don't know, like, they're people's professions, obviously, but it's just like, are you guys going out? Like, are you using the bathroom? Are you drinking water? Are you talking to your family? Like, things that matter. You know what I mean? So that's something that's super important to like also just put down your phone, put down Web3, because even if you're new and we're all, because I'm new and I feel late, but it's like now that you're in it, you're not late. I mean, you might miss like one crucial piece of information, but like, oh well, like at least you went outside, talked to your parents, friends, whatever. So yeah, that's something that I need to get back to. Like, I definitely need to get back in shape. Um, and something that I've been working on is like a book. It's not, I'm not publishing it, so I'm not like showing it. It's just for my son. But it talks about mental health. Like, my dad was never there for me, and that's one of the main reasons why like I had a bunch of other life issues. It just like it stemmed from there, and I went down like a dark kind of like rabbit hole. So I don't ever want to do that to my son because I don't want him to like turn out like I did. You know, it's not fair. So he's been like my biggest driving factor, and I've been like writing a book, kind of like giving mental health tips that have helped me because I don't know if anybody like has like internal dialogue, but I talk to myself a lot, not in like a weird way, but like I ask myself like why do I feel the way I do, or like I motivate myself, or I'm just like, hey, like you need to do this, or hey, like I know you don't want to do it, but I mean it's gonna feel worse when you don't do it later on. So like I do shit like that, and it's like I've managed to get through my depression by talking to myself and figuring things out for myself. And yeah, I kind of do seek external help here and there, but I want my son to know who I am because I suck at communication sometimes. Um, and yeah, so pretty cool stuff. Mental health is really important to me, and I know JR really that's important to him as well. We discussed this in another space, I think, like when I first started talking to you. But yeah, if anybody ever needs anything, just know that I'm here for you, and I love you all.
I just want to jump in real quick. Thanks, Banks, for sharing all of that. I can totally relate to going on Twitter and seeing people that were in rooms when I went to sleep that are still in rooms when I wake up, and it's a lot, you know. And I think we have to remind each other you have to take a break. And I also think there's a good time to plug Nomad Boulevard's partner One Mind. So for those of you who were in the room a week ago and kind of got to hear the founder who suffers from schizophrenia talk about how he founded One Mind, they are solely focused on advances on brain science to discover kind of the underlying brain conditions that can contribute and cause mental health. One of the reasons why Nomad Boulevard chose One Mind was the fact that when COVID-19 hit and the whole world changed, everyone suffered from different degrees and different types of isolation for the first time. Some were more challenging than others, but everyone felt a sense of, okay, how do I make up for this void of lack of community? And for me, the NFT space really helped to fill that gap. Now I'm very fortunate. I have an amazing family and kids, and I didn't suffer anywhere near as much as I know so many people who are less fortunate have suffered during that time period. But there was a lack of connection for me, and the NFT space really, really bridged that gap. And so we wanted to make sure that instead of picking a partner that was kind of more on the nose or on brand with Nomad Boulevard, we wanted to pick something that really resonated with all of us, and that's One Mind. So if you go to at onemind.org, and actually 10 of our 3,500 NFTs are a special design that Isabelle did of our Nomad holding an umbrella, and the rain is falling from underneath the umbrella on top of the Nomad's head. This was a concept that we came up with together with the team at One Mind. It's one of our rarest pieces. And we're going to continue to build on top of that partnership. And so, look, everyone in this room is obviously still here because you relate to what we're talking about right now. Whether you suffer from serious mental health conditions, or you can you have empathy for others that do. I think it's important for these rooms to start off one way. But yeah, I'm glad we're all here. I'm glad we're talking about it. I'm also happy to see some new faces on the stage. That are probably not new to a lot of you, but that are new to me. And we've got a couple more people that want to come up and say hello. So if I take you down, it's just because I want to make some more room. Feel free to request to come back up if you want to contribute to the conversation. And before I bring up a couple more people, I want to quickly say hi to Parin, who just raised her hand as soon as I said quickly say hi to Parin, which is just such a, that's so cool. Hi, Parin.
Well, here it's 9:50 a.m. So good morning and good evening to everyone. I supposed to wake up like 2 hours ago because I really didn't want to miss the room. But I think, speaking of mental health and body health, my body probably needed to sleep a little bit more. So despite my alarm for like 10 times, I think I was asleep. But I really enjoyed all the conversation. And again, I'm really upset that I missed the first part. But JR has always been very helpful to me, and I think to everyone, about thinking about mental health. And also Wes, I just wrote on my Twitter, Wes is my prophet, because like every time when I listen to him, I'm like, oh my God, I should start going to the gym. I should drink water more. Like, it's great to listen to these conversations, because when we just make ourselves really busy with work, we completely forget about a lot of things that is like necessary for our lives. But I just wanted to say something quite important also, when I personally feel FOMO for any kind of things around me. It can be like a Bored Ape Yacht Club hoodie, or I don't know, any kind of project, or not selling, or whatever. I just remind myself of like 6 months ago or like 10 months ago where I was. I didn't know like 90% of you. I didn't have these amazing friendships, and I wasn't a full time artist. I was still waiting for my paycheck. I was still like trying to make my life better. So every time that I feel bad about anything, like, I don't know, I drop a collection and it's not sold out, or it's not like people maybe don't talk much about it, it's still fine. Like, people feel so bad sometimes when they're overwhelmed by all these sales around them, or by missing out a project because of their time zone, or they don't have enough ETH, or they're just not aware of that. Just take a moment to think like where you were just 6 months ago or a year ago. None of this existed. So already I think we've got a lot of amazing things to be grateful for. And there's nothing to have FOMO for. There is no problem, because the thing is, we are so also new. Yeah, we miss few projects, but right away there are like many more amazing projects out there. Or we don't sell, it doesn't matter. The collectors still haven't discovered our collection. So there is, I think, overall, the whole thing that is happening in the NFT space is very positive. And most of the times, all these FOMOs and all these like problems are because of lack of sleep. And we know when we don't sleep well, we become much more like, sometimes we are more fragile or weak, or because only simply because we don't drink much water, and that's why we feel bad sometimes. So all of these things that happen are, I mean, they're out there, all of like sales. Yes, every day they're there, but it doesn't matter, because we are here all together and we are building this great world together. We are all the builders of here. So this was all the thing that I wanted to just say. Probably you all mentioned that before I woke up and before I came to the room, but I just wanted to say how much I appreciate these Nomad Boulevard rooms. Every single time when I get up and when I just wake up, I listen to all these great conversations, and I just like start my day in the best way possible. Thank you, everyone. I'm Parin. I'm done speaking.
We love Parin.
We love you.
Hi, Parent. Thanks.
So
I can't
true.
wait.
It's so true, and I know that's not the first time you've said that, Parin. Um, Literally year and a half ago, you could not have asked me to guess what NFT stands for if you gave me 1,000 guesses. And then even if I guessed it, and I was like, I don't know, fungible token, you'd be like, oh my gosh, you got it, but what does it mean? I'd have no idea. So um, thanks for that. And just want to welcome BT to the stage. BT, we actually did you get your Nomad Min Pass in your wallet?
I sure did. I absolutely did. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Really, just so cool for me to know that BT has a Nomad Boulevard Mint Pass. You know, I that's very cool for me personally. For those of you who don't know, you should check out his profile. BT, what do you think about what we're talking about right now? What Parin just said. Do you relate to that?
Absolutely. First of all, I think the world of Parn, and I'm actually rocking a PFP that Parn drew. If you didn't notice her amazing artwork, um, one of my favorite artists we have amongst us, and I think that what she was saying was just so beautifully articulated and thoughtful. And I have a great interest in mental health. My mom is a psychiatrist, so I actually grew up reading the diagnostic Merck's manuals. Like, it's pretty hysterical. I read at what the time were the DSM threes by the time I was, I don't know, 11 or 12, and was convinced I had everything too. Kind of not ironically, but in on a serious note, what Parn is talking about is so essential for us as a community and for our thought leaders, to be mindful of in interactions with other people, and reminding people of. And I love, Parn, that you mentioned water, because I read a paper recently that said, by the way, too, to get like a little bit technical about it, what we're kind of talking about in the colloquial would be called an amygdala hijacking. And the amygdala is the center of your brain that governs fight, flight, or freeze responses. And so when we get what we call triggered, or we get, what I kind of commonly call dysregulated, that's our amygdala being overactive. And that can be stimulated by something as small as just being the slightest bit dehydrated, which most people are. Most people don't drink enough water. So, yeah, I think it's so important to have places to talk about, because the whole Web3 space and blockchain thing is so ever evolving. It's the pace of it is so rapid. All of us are so excited about it and building and lifting one another's projects. And so it's really important that we have disciplined self-care routines. So I love when that's a conversation. And yeah, thank you again for the gift. I super appreciate it. And I'm playing hooky on coding right now because I've been a little bit emotionally dysregulated myself today. My internet is super slow, and I'm trying to get assets in for the project we're working on, and I'm having a mini freak out, but it's all for good stuff. So yeah, just love you guys. Thrilled to be here.
Amazing. Thanks for being here. JR, we were supposed to hang out tonight for a little bit to talk about, WAGMI Art Res and, how it's aligned with Nomad Boulevard. And, I love when a conversation naturally takes itself to a higher level and a higher purpose. That's very cool. So we've added a couple of people to the stage. I want to make sure that they get a chance to say hello. Um, let's start with Mutair, and apologies if I'm mispronouncing your name.
No, man, it's really correct. It's Mutair, by the way. Hey, hi, how are you doing, GM? Actually, like, I just woke up and it's like first space I am joining by the morning. I saw like JR and other people were here. I thought that I will come up and just say hi. How are you doing today? I'm sorry if I'm sounding like a bit weird because I just woke up. I'm half sleepy.
How we doing? And whereabouts are you located right now?
Yeah, I'm based in Kashmir. I'm the first person from the Kashmir who is in the NFTs. By the way, also like I'm the first photographer at the moment, and there are like a lot of people currently joining. Like, I saw like couple, two or three people have joined it. After that, I joined it. So I am based in Kashmir. So let me introduce you to Kashmir because it's like opportunity to tell about my place. So Kashmir is basically right now part of India, but it used to be an independent part before like 80s and 90s. After that, like it had become a kind of war zone. Like from 20 or 30 years, it has been a war zone from 20 or 30 years. Like people are dying out here, and the stuff is going out here. But what I'm currently trying to do is that I'm trying to portray it's a place where it's a beautiful place. Obviously, it's a beautiful and it's known as the heaven on the earth. So yeah, I'm trying to like portray its beautiful scabs and other stuff in terms of photography on the blockchain currently.
Yeah, I'm looking at the photography. It's absolutely beautiful. Like this is
Yeah,
well done,
thanks,
man.
Jared. Yeah,
Well,
it's like my first Genesis collection on the blockchain. Also, like it is currently promoted. I remember like when I dropped this. Actually, I joined NFT space a year before. I will just say this before. I joined like NFT space a year before, but I never dropped anything because I tried to build up my connections and community out here in the NFT space. But recently, like 2 months before, I dropped when OpenSea launched their photography stuff. So after that, like I dropped my Genesis collection, and from the first day, like it is still trending on the OpenSea's trending photography page. Yeah, it's like kind of best thing happened in my life. Also, like OpenSea just verified me. I got that blue badge, on the OpenSea.
let's go.
Yeah,
Congrats.
yeah.
Congratulations,
That's
man.
huge.
Yeah,
Nice.
thank you so much. And like it's like for the first time I am seeing any photographer is been promoting for the whole month. I guess it's like a month. I guess I'm still there on trending page. It's like trending on 27. I guess I'm not sure, but yeah.
Yeah, I'll give a call out to you to hear. He actually got bought by Mumbot, and we know she's an epic in this space, so it was a good acquisition.
Yeah, yeah, I got some big names. Also, I got Thank You X ETH on my board. Also, market. I guess like I got some good people at first. Yeah, it was a nice start, but it's only because I had built up my connections out here because I'm in this space like from a year or more. Also, like I joined NFT space. I was super early to NFTs. I joined like NFTs back in 2019, but at that time, like internet got stuck in my place for a year, so I was unable to continue my NFT.